Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome in, welcome in. We are here. We got a new title today, guys. We got some new additions. We are now the Mels, Shady, Just4Bad Sportscast. We have a new edition of the Sportscast. My good buddy, Lamb's buddy as well. We got Hiatus in here with us, guys. Also, people know him as the D2 Throw King. Rates quite a bit with JJ11 Prof on Destiny as well. And his Twitch channel is right above me as well, right below Lamb Shady's Beard Reaction. Welcome in, Hiatus. How you doing, man? Go ahead and introduce yourself and talk a little bit about yourself.
I am doing good. Thank you guys for having me. Glad to be a part of the team and the podcast. Myself, I am 36 years of age, hail from the the great state of Florida. I don't know if I should say that
Debatable.
because a lot of things, yeah, that's what I was going to say. A lot of people would feel other ways, but I'm a native Floridian and dad gamer. Like Melby said, stream with JJ doing D2, a lot of throws. Tend to get under the skins of a lot of the competitive players because I throw a lot. It's just what's going to happen. It's going to happen. But aside from that, definitely a sports fanatic, man. Have been into sports probably since I was 6 years of age. Very first time watching sports was the Chicago Bears versus the Detroit Lions,
Ooh,
and I remember the Barry Sander days. Like I've been
them were the good
glued
days.
to, yeah, I've been glued. Um, Favorite all-time team was the Bulls, and the fact that Michael, Scotty, Dennis caused so many great players never to get rings, and I enjoyed every moment of it. So it's just a little bit about myself. But yeah, I'm glad to be a part, glad to come in and speak on the podcast and share my thoughts.
Good to have you, man. We're amazed to have you here. Glad we were able to get that put together and have you included in here with Lamb and I as well. And Lamb's back with us as well, guys. What's up, Lamb?
The Titans are here. Boom. You know what time it is. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's amazing. We got Dangling already here in chat too, guys. What's up, Kevin? How's your day going, man? Big topics today, guys. Big topics. We're gonna roll right in. We got last night's game. A bunch of stuff happened. The Miami Lakers game. Some big topics. A bunch of things we're gonna go off here. We're gonna talk about AD's injury. Jimmy Butler going off. LeBron's decision on passing up that last play. And then we're going to talk about a couple of other key players as well here as well. But the first thing that we are going to touch in and on and everything, what are you guys' thoughts on last night's game, guys? Whoever
I'm gonna
wants
let
to jump
hiatus
in
go
first, go
first.
ahead and jump in.
Go for it, hiatus.
All right. So my thoughts on last night's game was that they put too much pressure on themselves, and by putting too much pressure on themselves, they excited the other team, and they were caught with their pants down.
Facts.
Now we can, equate the fact of AD's injury. However, it did not keep him out for the pivotal points of the game. So he was in there. He did put up his numbers. LeBron put up phenomenal numbers. But the thing that is interesting is the fact that Jimmy Butler put up numbers, none put up numbers, and that was pretty much it.
And none
Like,
came out of nowhere last night. People were expecting it to either come out of Tyler Hero
hmm
or maybe even a Duncan Robinson in the case because he's showing some light here in the playoffs as well. But for Kendrick Nunn to come out of the bench and to show what he did last night, and he only missed a couple of shots.
Yep.
Dude was on fire last night. Kind of shocked a little bit of everybody.
So that kind of brings into the equation when you kind of look at the totality of the game. If they're going to have, and of course, we've seen different people step up, but if they're going to have players that step up to that level and meet that that 25, 30, it's going to be hard for you to close them out.
Exactly. Lamb, what do you think about everything last night, man?
I'm gonna tell you my main concern about what I saw last night. Okay, my main concern was, as we know,
Jimmy's
Anthony.
mustache.
Yeah. Let's take up an offering right now for Jimmy Butler to get an edge up, to get a taper.
Who wants to
You know
reach
what I'm
out to
saying?
Jimmy
To get a
Butler
lineup.
chat to offer a
Can we get
donation to give that man a clip job?
Can we get some biddies
They
in the
got a whole
chat
barbershop
Listen,
down there on the
listen.
bubble. We got some scrappy looking
Send to
players
Jimmy.
going on.
Can we get some biddies in the chat to send to Mr. Butler, please? And Danny Green, please. They're in desperate need of edge ups.
That
Please.
mustache
Very,
thing you
very
got
true.
going on. Jimmy Butler mustache is something else, chat. Like,
But
we
I
were
will
actually
tell
just
you,
discussing about that, and we were
my
cracking
main
up.
concern, and it's been my concern the whole time, and I don't even like this guy, but Anthony Davis, he started this series with a heel injury, right? So this is the first time we're seeing him deal with this. My main concern is, he left in the first quarter and then came back in the second quarter. But the look on his face when he's sitting on the sideline writhing in pain, that is very concerning. Even though after the game he said it'll be fine on Sunday, Iguodala stepped on it or whatever. That I know that face. I've been
Yep.
injured for over 3 months with a high ankle sprain. I've never had to deal with a heel injury, but I know that face. That face is like I'm trying to hold back the tears. It is very sharp,
rough.
and yeah, if you look at his face, I'm concerned about that because without Anthony Davis is leading the playoffs in blocks. The playoffs in blocks,
Mhm.
not just this series. He's leading the playoffs in blocks. Removing him from the game, that opens up so much more for the Miami Heat. That
Oh,
opens
yep.
up
big time.
so much more.
And-
I'm concerned about Anthony Davis's heel. That's what my main concern is.
And the Lakers do have some pieces on which they can fold into that, and being JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard's actually shown quite a bit already this playoffs and has been a phenomenal force on the defensive end. And getting into people's heads as well. He's been doing that and taking his role to a different level that we've never seen Dwight Howard ever do before. And I kind of like that. I was a Dwight Howard fan in Orlando, and when he first got to LA, he let everything get to him. And
Yep.
seeing his return and the turnaround that he's made and accepting his role and doing this, that, and the other, it's good to see. So if AD does go down, which I don't foresee that he will sit out Game 6, I can see maybe a minute restriction and maybe even possibly limiting him regarding everything, depending on how bad that heel injury is. Because like Lamb was just talking about, it's a re-aggravated injury. He sat out multiple games earlier this year with that heel injury on that re-aggravation as well. So that's going to be something huge to look out for. AD is such a huge factor for that team. Everyone's been talking about it, and even Rondo brought it up. LeBron doesn't have to carry the full load and doesn't have to be relied upon on that last shot. AD can also take that shot as well. And that's something that we're going to talk about as well. LeBron had such a good game last night, guys.
AD taking that shot though, Melby, he's been so inconsistent. We never know which Anthony Davis we're gonna see, right? Like there's the GOAT Anthony Davis where he's beating on his chest,
That one
chest
game,
bumping people,
he
and
hit
then I'm
that
like,
game winner and yelled Kobe, and then
Yep.
ended up having
I'm
5
like,
turnovers in the
Yeah,
next game
bro.
after that. Anthony Davis is such a great player.
I hate him.
When he is inconsistent, it doesn't come in a big formality. It's in very short stints. That's how good of a player he is. But as far as LeBron not passing to an AD, or let alone not taking that shot by himself last night, he passed it to Danny Green, guys. Danny Green had nobody within 10 feet of this guy last night.
Yeah, bro.
Not even within 10 feet. This dude has a 40% career three-point ratio from shooting the three. He got signed for a reason as a marksman three-pointer and for clutch shots. How do you barely... No, I don't want to hear that. What are you barking at? How do you barely hit the front rim when nobody's not even at a distance of a wingspan of you, let alone even putting a contest up for a shot. Like, yeah, I understand some people talk about it during the three-point contest, saying a wide open three is one of the most difficult shots to shoot. But when you're that aspect of a role player, and that is your role, and that's what you got signed to do, and that's what you've been doing for your career, yeah, you've been up and down, this, that, and the other ever since you've been with the Spurs. And that's basically why you got let go, is because you were so inconsistent at that point. But that's your main job. And when you're left that wide open, and you leave your hand here at a follow-through, acting like it's going to go in, and you barely front rim it,
that's a problem.
it blew my mind. Like, first off,
So
why didn't LeBron shoot the ball? And then second off, why are you passing it to Danny Green? What are you guys' take on this, guys? Hiatus, I already see you wanting to jump in. Let's hear it.
Yep. So this is my take on it. It was for basketball savants. It was the best play to go to. You're wide open. That's your role. That's what they brought you there for.
Right.
It's kind of similar when it comes to like the NFL. Nobody gets mad in the NFL when the quarterback gets close and they bring the kicker in. The kicker he has one job: kick the ball through the uprights.
Right.
Now, sometimes he's gonna make it, sometimes he's not, but that's his job, is to make that shot. And so, if you're that wide open, yes, LeBron could have tried to be a Kobe and take it up on three people, and then if he got blocked, you would have said that was dumb. Why did you try to take it on three people?
Right.
If he throws the ball to who they're expecting and it gets picked off and it goes the other way, why would you make that pass? So the pass that he made, for me, I'm okay with him making that pass. That's similar to what, Jesus Shuttleworth, Ray Allen, he would have passed it to him and he would have knocked that shot down. It is solely on Danny Green. You've got to knock that shot down. There is no excuse.
And that's something else I do want to bring up too real quick before we dive deeper, is LeBron's comment at the end of the game. During his press conference, straight up said, well, you have to live with that. You can't live with that. Not when that dude is signed for that specific role, and you're sitting there like this, acting like you made it, and then you can't be that inconsistent, especially when the game's on the line like that. LeBron's comment really threw me off regarding that, saying that you have to live with that. I can live with the actual shot itself, but when it comes to that type of player and being that wide open, you can't live with that shot.
I'm going to tell y'all, I'm going to give y'all a point here. I'm going to tell y'all something. I'm going to tell you the reason why in this situation you do not pass the ball to Danny Green. I'm going to tell you why if you're LeBron James, that you take that three-pointer, you pump fake like James Harden would, and if they foul you, you go to the free throw line for 3 shots, and if not, you step back and hit it just like James Harden would have. In the Denver Nuggets series, Danny Green from the three-point line, 8 for 25. 8 for 25.
That's under 33%, chat.
In this Heat series, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 11, 15, 25, 27, 4, 5, 6, 7 for 27.
Okay.
From the three-point line.
So, Lamb, let me ask you this.
That's why you do not give it to him. On the October 4th game, he was 0 for 4 from three-point line.
I remember that game.
The game before this past week, he was 2 for 6. The game before the October 4th game, he was 1 for 8 from the three-point line. Why are we letting this man shoot even if it's wide open? No. AD takes that shot or LeBron takes that shot 100% of the time.
Facts.
All right.
100%.
So let me ask my question of you, Lamb. So does Danny Green play for the Lakers or Houston?
Danny Green, he plays for, I don't know. It doesn't look like he's playing for any team right now. He's playing for the super trash throw squad is what I'm looking at.
So the reason that I asked that question, there's only one team that shoots that amount of threes and lives with the results, and that's Houston
That's
Rockets.
yes.
Yeah,
I was
And
just
they
about to
are
say that.
home.
yeah. They
So
do shoot an ungodly amount from the
yes.
3-point line.
So to your point, they're allowing their shooters to take the brunt of those shots. But yes, that is a huge concern that the people that you've brought in to be your spot up, knockdown shooters are not spotting up and not knocking down those shots. Like that's not okay. I mean, and that's really what it's come down to with this series is that the Heat knock down their threes, the Lakers don't.
Right.
Well,
And
It's just that
we
simple.
even saw that during
LeBron,
the Celtics series as well.
LeBron has been knocking down his threes, but LeBron James, as King James, as arguably the second best basketball player in the world, because I still think Kevin Durant has him from that series when Kevin Durant beat him up and he could do nothing about it. So, and that's probably another stream conversation. But
You mean when he got beat by that Warriors team and then joined them?
yes,
You talking about
correct.
that one? Oh, okay.
But one on one, I think KD can take on LeBron. But but I
I
feel
think they'll
like
dunk on each other.
as LeBron James, as the guy on the floor, right, in all these series with the highest basketball IQ, there's no argument about that. He might not be the best athlete on the floor. Jimmy Butler's a monster, but the guy with the highest basketball IQ has to be smarter than to give the ball to the most inconsistent shooter on their team during the playoffs.
Right.
I'm sorry.
That's kind of
If
the
I'm
other
playing
thing that
with you
surprised
two,
me too. Is
if I'm playing with you two and Melby, we picked him up because he's a spot up 3-point shooter, and in the last two series, he's been the king of throws, not even hiatus. I'm not gonna give it to him if he's open. I'm not. That's why the defense wasn't guarding him. Hello, LeBron.
And
If
that's
he's
another
that
thing
open,
that I kind of want to bring up as well. The IQ. Why not inbound the ball to a guy kind of like a Rajon Rondo to penetrate the ball? Use his IQ as well. Rondo's probably got just as high as an IQ as LeBron does. Rondo's done so many phenomenal things in his career, let alone the playoffs. His IQ is probably right up there with LeBron's as well. But
LeBron James.
why not inbound the ball to a guy like Rondo and let him facilitate and find a LeBron or an AD, so that way they don't have to worry about taking that pressure and having LeBron or AD take the inbounds pass and try to force the shot or pass it to somebody they're not really looking to pass to, instead of actually getting a actual good shot that you have a really good chance at making.
Anthony Davis hit 2 3-pointers. LeBron James hit 6 3-pointers in that game. Kentavious Pope hit 3 3-pointers in that game. Give the ball to one of those guys.
By far, Kentavious Caldwell Pope has been on a tear from three in these
Bro,
playoffs.
give the ball to him. Let him shoot it. They're not. I definitely would have been
I
expecting
would
that.
rather have Rondo
would have
take
been
that
them
shot at
expecting
the end
them.
of the game than Danny Green, in my opinion.
I would have been expecting either Anthony Davis or Pope to take that shot. I would not have been expecting them to give it to Danny Green just because of how inconsistent he's been through the last 2 playoff series. I would expect either LeBron to go up and draw the foul, which would have been the best overall plan. He already hit 6 3-pointers. Why not? Why
Exactly.
not?
And that's why I brought in the fact of why not inbound the ball to somebody else, to where like a LeBron or AD doesn't have to have that kind of pressure and just get open for a shot, and let Rondo facilitate and find that person.
LeBron should have inbounded the ball and then cut to the 3-point line and then just pump faked and took a shot, try to jump into somebody. That would have been the play I would have made.
So my thing with how they're playing, this is my biggest concern when it comes to the Lakers. You're playing down from your ability. You have giants. Like as far as your height, like we always make jokes about my height. It is like me and Lamb playing like, yo, you got height, but you're not using your advantage.
Yeah,
So
That's
when
true.
it comes down to that time, call a timeout. Get your pillars in there. Lob it up. Who's going to grab it? One of the people that are the tallest that can jump up and get it.
Yep.
And it's like that's the most infuriating part of it when you're seeing Jimmy Butler pulling 12 reads. How is he pulling more
Jimmy
more
Butler
rebounds?
was a force last night. He was
What
pushing
happened to
everybody
boxing
around
out?
last night. He was
Like,
pushing everybody around last night.
it doesn't make sense. You got Dwight Howard, you got McGee, you got AD, LeBron. Like y'all are taller than these guys. What is going on?
Yeah.
Why is this
Facts.
happening? They should not be close in rebounds to you. They should not be out rebounding you. It just doesn't make sense. They're playing into the Miami Heat's hand because they're trying to play small with them, with the occasional throw in of AD. Just go down there and bully them. No, use what you got. Make Dwight Howard go and go down low. They can't stop him.
Facts.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Butler doing what he's doing and attacking the hole and being aggressive is opening everything else up for everyone else as well. And we were just talking about that. Kendrick Nunn had a great game. I don't
Listen.
think so. What are you doing?
I'm gonna say one
Kendrick,
thing
go
about Jimmy Butler. If I see this play one more time in these playoffs, I'm going to freaking scream. If I see Jimmy Butler run from the top of the key and hit a contested layup off of Markieff Morris one more time,
Yeah,
I'm
bro.
going to lose it.
It's ridiculous.
Putting him on him. Obviously, he's not intimidated by him. He doesn't have the athleticism to block the shot. It's a free shot. He's literally timed it.
Yeah.
Think about every playoff game you've seen a Jimmy Butler, Markieff Morris layup contested. It's like,
Jeez.
what are y'all doing? And you
Yeah.
keep doing it every game.
Exactly.
And these being the crucial moments.
Why not put a switch on that? Why not put the bigger body on AD or even
Thank
LeBron
you.
in that case? The AD was hurt, so go ahead and put LeBron on him, or sub in a person like a Dwight Howard who can rotate and move with him and put a better contest on that shot. Jimmy's hit a lot of easy contested floaters in the paint in the last couple of games. The one specifically where he went off for 40-point triple-double, and then last night he went for 35. With him penetrating and getting those contested floaters, so-called, he's opening everything else up for everybody else. Kendrick Nunn had such a good game last night. The other night was Tyler Hero. It's rotational of players, and you kind of don't expect who is going to show up besides Jimmy Butler in any case and any night. It's Jimmy Butler, and who else is it going to be? Is it going to be a Andre Iguodala who comes out of nowheres? Is it going to be Jay Crowder who shoots a bunch of threes and starts knocking them down?
Hey,
It's
Andre
on any
Iguodala-
given night on who's going to show up with Jimmy Butler, and you don't expect who it's going to be because it's been changing every single night on who's been a helping case for Jimmy Butler.
Andre Iguodala, he stepped on AD's ankle, so him and Jimmy Butler are apparently the only people who want it on that.
I
spot.
didn't see
All
a
right.
step. The one thing that I did notice, and they slowed down on it too, is
He wants it,
Good
baby.
point.
that
He's like, I'm going for this championship. I'm gonna kick
I'm
his
gonna
foot
get a
if
ring.
he runs by me, bro.
the other
get this
thing that I
ring one way or
noticed too
another.
is he did take a shot to the knee to the back of that heel too, and that's where the actual pain actually came from, I think, as well.
Now, what I will say in regards to this series is I think that Sunday's game, I do believe that the Lakers will pull out and win that game. And here's the only reason why I say that. They did an interview with Jimmy Butler talking about his play and everything.
Right.
At the end of that, he said, "We will win Game 6." Every time there's been a prediction of who's going to win, it's the opposite. So I'm just gonna say that he put his foot in his mouth. I don't believe that he'll be able to, which we've seen. Yes, he put up a 40-point game, but he was exhausted the second
Right.
game.
And you
Yes,
saw
he
that
put
during
up a
the interview
35.
as well.
Exactly. So I don't believe that he'll be able to put up the numbers that he put up last game, and it's going to be a detriment because you kind of put that out there that we're going to win this game. That's not a given.
Right.
That's not a given.
And
It takes a It takes a lot for y'all to like. Every game has been down to the wire,
Yes.
and that's with you throwing up you know the 35 and the 40 down to the wire. So you can't just say we're going to win. It's been a toss up every time.
And that kind of rolls into with what our next topic is for the game as well. Um, the impact in the stage on the Lakers last night. A few days before the game started, they decided they wanted to wear their Mamba jerseys. They've been undefeated these playoffs so far in those Mamba jerseys, but you're going into a crucial game, a clutch game, to where you have a possibility of clinching the series and winning the NBA championship. They go ahead and decide to wear the Mamba jerseys, have pregame speeches, this, that, and the other. They're wearing Mamba shoes, giving a big shout out. Now, with them, I called this out before the game even started. Even when I first saw it, I was like, it's unfortunate. Yes, they're undefeated. I understand where they're coming from. I understand why they're doing it. But at the same point, they had a huge risk of putting a target on their back and losing the game and wearing all that gear and this, that, and the other. And that showed last night. And that's exactly what ended up happening. They wore all their gear. They wore the Mamba jerseys, shoes, this, that, and the other, had speeches, ended up losing the game. So it swings both ways. And I want to get your guys' both opinion on this as well. Like Hiatus was just talking about, with Jimmy saying Game 6 is ours. Now, that always, 90% of the time, always turns bad for the team and will go in a disadvantage for them. But in this case, with the Lakers doing what they did last night and wearing that gear, this, that, and the other, the stage that everything was on, and how the game ended up playing out and the ending of the game, how is both of that going to reflect the mentalities of everything going forward for Game 6 on Sunday, guys? Lamb, we'll let you go first.
Here's what I'm going to say. I think Anthony Davis needs to sit out Game 6. Okay? There's no point in Anthony Davis coming out and playing still semi-injured in a Game 6, and then they're going to lose that game anyway.
So you're going to take a big risk on clinching Game 6 and letting it roll to Game 7?
Absolutely, I am. Because guess what? Even though Dwight Howard is absolute garbage and trash, he is going to be huge in the paint. That is a big trash player that can be in the paint, that can move around, that can make Miami Heat players adjust their shots. He can increase the rebounds. He's got to do better than 2 rebounds per game. But if he can learn to position himself a little better instead of trying to be an offensive player, he can pull down some boards. But if I'm the Lakers, I'm not going to let AD play this game. I'm just not. He's almost in tears on the ground, on the court, holding his foot. He's almost in tears. Did y'all see the way he came down on that?
It took 4 people to get him
up.
up.
Ugh. Sit out Game 6. Come back Game 7 at 90%. Don't risk playing Game 6 at 75 or 80% when you can come back for Game 7 at 90 or more percent. That's what they need to do. So I believe Jimmy Butler's right. I believe Game 6 is going to be for the Miami Heat. But I believe Game 7 will be closeout. Healthy LeBron, healthy AD. Kyle Kuzma's got to do something. You gotta do something, bro. You have. What was he? 3 for 10?
Other than just be on the court.
Right. I think he was 3 for 10. I'm trying to pull up the stats. I think he was 3 for 10 or something terrible like that. He's gonna have to. Yeah, he was 3 for 10, 0 for 4 from the 3-point line, 1 rebound, no assists, and no steals in 22 minutes.
And for him being such a high draft pick and being there for a few years now and already knowing the system and playing with LeBron for the last couple of years already, you expect him to do a lot more than what he's doing right now.
This is true.
I think he's going to have to step up because he can be a difference maker. We've seen what happens when he's on fire. He can score 20 points.
Oh, there's been games this year where we've seen people go cold, or AD's been sat out for rest, or LeBron's been sat out for rest, and Kuzma comes out of nowhere with a 30-point game, and the Lakers end up winning the game.
It was Game 3.
Where's that Kuzma at? Where's that mentality?
In Game 3, he was 4 for 8 from the 3-point line with 3 rebounds. He was He had 19 points in 23 minutes. Fast forward to this past game, in 22 minutes, 7 points. 0 for 4 from the 3-point line. Are we not practicing shots like Steph Curry does? Because Steph
Nah.
Curry's out there every day. Every day, bro. Every single day.
So,
What?
Lamb, I have the answer to that question that we talked about a little bit off, in regards to why LeBron passed that shot, and this kind of
Oh, hey, this
goes
is
to
tapping
the
chat. I'm gonna get
question
another drink
of
real
them
quick.
wearing the Mamba jerseys and the speeches. So I'm just gonna look through the eyes of LeBron James. So the game is close. You're channeling your inner Mamba. You're going toe to toe with Jimmy Butler. Y'all are going layup for layup. And then you drive down the lane. And because in your head you are now Kobe, you thought he was Robert Ory. And he wasn't. So I think I figured
Interesting.
out
Feels
what
horrible.
happened because Robert Ory would have knocked that shot down.
Yes, he would have.
100%. 100%.
In all things Mamba, which is the way that they were keeping it, that's the only thing that in my head when we were talking about it kind of kicks in. Like he really was channeling his inner Mamba and was like, "Here you go, Ori. Oh snap, it's Danny."
Yeah.
That's what he was
Here you go,
shaking his head
Kyrie.
about.
Oh, crap. I don't have him anymore.
Jeez.
Dang.
Not him. Anybody but him.
Hey, Kyrie hit the shot, though. Kyrie hit the shot, though.
He did.
He did. He did.
He hit the shot, though.
But it's just like, it was a lot of pressure that they put on themselves with them wearing those jerseys, with them, the speeches. You got every analyst out there saying, "Oh, Miami's distraught. Oh, they're just gonna lay down. Oh, this and that." And it's like, no, they're not. They've never shown that. Throughout this entire game, except for the very first game. The first game was the only one that there was this big blowout. But after that, it's been down to the wire. So I don't know why it was like this foregone conclusion that, oh, they're going to just knock them off. I thought they would come out aggressive because of the fact that they had the jerseys on. But Miami was just as aggressive. And that's the problem.
Facts.
They're used to teams, especially with LeBron. He's used to guys kind of being intimidated of his presence and his floor and the way that he operates. But Jimmy, since he was on the Chicago Bulls, has never been impressed by LeBron. Never.
Nope.
Like if we go back to the Chicago days when they had their lineup, Jimmy was knocking down shots. Jimmy was all in LeBron's grill. And that was when he had Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. Like, we're not afraid of them. And we actually thought that Chicago might have knocked them off if y'all know who I'm talking about. Who was the star point guard for the Bulls at that time?
Which one? They've had Steve Kerr. They've had B.J. Armstrong.
No, he got hurt. He's on Detroit now.
Oh, Derrick Rose.
Oh,
so
yeah,
Derrick
Rose.
Right. So Derrick Rose goes down. If Derrick Rose doesn't go down, they have a high chance and possibility of knocking Miami off. And it was because of Jimmy. Like that's when he earned Jimmy buckets because he was not afraid. And that's what you're seeing now with Miami. He's not afraid of LeBron. He's not afraid of AD. He's not afraid of the moment. And so now you have your teammates that are feeding off of that same thing where they're just not afraid. So the moment isn't too big for them. The lights aren't too bright for them because they're already ready for a dogfight. And go ahead.
No, go ahead and finish up because there's something I want to talk about as well about the Heat mentality.
Yeah, like they're already for a dogfight. So now you got LeBron and AD who up until now teams have just folded in their presence. They're not. And this is new territory for them because think about LeBron's run. Baby Raptors and even when it came to the Celtics took them 7, but he always found a way to get around them.
Right.
Like you had teams that would fold. The Indiana Pacers, even when they had that godly squad, would just fold in his presence.
Yep.
And now you have a team. They don't may not have all stars, but they ain't afraid of you. And so
Yeah.
that is dangerous when you have a team that is not afraid of you, that has a bunch of role players that actually play their role. You got to be careful because you'll end up on the other side of that W holding that L and trying to figure out what just happened. Like it can happen where they win the next two games if they don't take them seriously and exercise and exploit what they have in advantage as
Big
far as their
facts.
height and things like that. Like take advantage of what you have. Don't just rely on your stars to go out there and just do star stuff. Use the rest of the other players. That's why they're there, because they're going to start taking away LeBron's influence, AD's influence. Like we know when it comes to the NBA, there are dirty plays. Not saying that what happened to AD was a dirty play, but it could have been. It could have been intentional. And then what are you going to do?
Right,
Because
exactly.
the series still has to go on.
Right.
So
Yep.
it's like there's a lot of factors that kind of come into play, and you got to think about all of these things. And it also comes down to the fact that we got to give props to Eric Spoelstra. He is out coaching Frank Vogel right now
Oh, by
with
far.
Yeah.
stars.
With worse
And,
players.
and it's like, bro,
With
you gotta
worse
get
players.
this together, bro. You gotta get this together. You can't get out coached
And that's something
by
I
a
want to talk
player
about too,
guy.
actually. Is it's crazy that they would bring that up about the Heat's mentality and their culture and this, that, and the other. If you look back to even 15, 20 years ago when Pat Riley was the coach, the Heat mentality has never been that way, ever. They've always been a
No.
grinding run team to where they put everything out on the floor and they do everything in their will to win the game. And that's
Yep.
showing even when Pat Riley took over as the CEO and president. It's still that case. He brought Eric Spoelstra into that role and taught Eric Spoelstra everything that dude knew to where Eric Spoelstra could be as dominant as a coach as he can be when the time comes to be. That's proven when he had Dwayne Wade and Shaq. That was proven when he got Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron all together for those 3 championships. Or two out of 3? Or was it, 2 out of 3, right?
2 out of 4.
2 out of 4. And now in this case, you got
baby.
one star player in Jimmy Butler, and you got a bunch of rookies and a cast put around him, basically. You can't tell me that you haven't seen this before when Dwayne Wade was pretty much by himself when they brought Shaq in and won a championship, and Dwayne Wade had a pretty much role cast of players around him, and pretty much brought their mentality through the roof because of everything Pat Riley's been through and the players he's been against, the coaches he's been against. That mentality for the Heat has always stayed the same, and I don't think it'll ever change until Pat Riley leaves there. So for them to bring that up really surprised me because the Heat's mentality and their culture has always been the same for as long as I can remember.
I agree.
And they got some dogs who will ball. Can we talk about the undrafted Duncan Robinson? Oh my
Right.
gosh. Who is this guy? Who is this guy?
And up
Good
and coming.
He out here moving nonstop and hitting shots like Steph
Bro.
Curry, basically.
Hitting shots.
Like, his
bro.
release time is ridiculous.
Good
Like, dude can catch it
Lord.
here, and not even a half a second later, it's already out of his hand.
Yep.
This guy he's legit, man. His field goal percentage, 42.
If you
His
look at
free
his
throw
stats in
percentage,
his
86.
career for being undrafted, he is the best three-point shooter percentage-wise to ever play the game. And his
Wow.
stats in general right now, actually as a three-point shooter percentage, rank up at the best of the all-time as well.
He made 7 3-pointers in this last game. 7.
Yes.
7.
That's
bro.
what I wanted to bring up earlier too.
Good
You never
Lord.
know who it's gonna be with Jimmy Butler on any given night. First game it was Tyler Hero. The second game it was Kendrick Nunn and Duncan Robinson. Third game you could see Bam Adebayo come out of nowheres and be like a Celtics game 7 and score 30-some points, or you know what I mean? Like, you never know, or game 6 rather. You never know what's gonna happen.
Yep.
That team is built different to where you're going to get everything you can from Jimmy, but you never know who is going to go off on any given night to help him out. And it's been showing consistently through this entire playoffs.
Yeah,
I agree.
true that. And Jimmy Butler's a defensive monster too.
Yes.
He's not just good on the offensive side of the ball. He's
once
balling
everything's
out.
said and done and he retires, he'll go down as one of the best defensive two-way players to ever play the game, along with Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard, with everything that he'd been through, this, that, and the other, and even the drama he went through with the Spurs, he's still hands down one of the best two-way players to ever play the game as well.
Yeah, he's very good. He's very good. LeBron James is just better. That's the problem. Whenever I look at the stats of these two teams, I'm like, man, Jimmy Butler's good. Who's above him? LeBron James. Dang. I'm like, man, Duncan Robinson's good. Who's above him? LeBron James.
Right.
Dang. and yet, here we are.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And yet, here we are. And I gotta say, I think Anthony Davis' reoccurring injury has a lot to do with it. I feel like if he was 100% healthy like LeBron James, this might be 4-0. Or maybe a gentleman's sweep. It might be a
I gave it a gentleman's sweep. Originally, before everything
Jimmy
started,
Butler's
I
still
gave it
gonna
a
hit that
gentleman's
game.
sweep.
Yeah, I agree. But imagine 100% Anthony Davis with LeBron James. No injuries, no going back to the locker room to stretch, none of that. Just 100% ball out. You know what I mean? Ball so hard, can't find me. 100% that this is a different series.
And that's kind of how I feel, when it comes to Game 6 is going to be. Like, even though I understand what Lamb is saying about him taking it easy, they want this over.
Yeah,
and
they
I
can't let
kind
it go
of
to
feel
Game 7.
that
If they do, it's going to be trouble.
Yeah, I feel that that's their mentality, and that's how they're going to come out. They're going to come out, and they're going to want to put this away as quickly and as fast as they possibly can.
Kind of basically what the Nuggets did to the Clippers in Game 7 and went up by 20, and the Clippers sat their whole bench.
Yep.
There's a problem with that, though. And I'm going to get it in a second. So y'all keep talking. I'm going to let you know. Because I had it earlier, and then I just lost it.
Okay, while you think about that, what's your prediction for Game 6, Hiatus?
So my prediction for Game 6, I'm gonna say that again. It comes down to, because you got to go with the pattern.
Right.
I'm gonna say that it comes down again to last minute plays, and I do think that this time they'll get the right plays, and I think the Lakers will get this game. The only caveat to that is whether or not AD is able to really go and really be able to impact the game, because if he isn't there, that's a big hole that has to be filled by a LeBron, and that's going to be a lot for him to have to do in one sitting. Not saying that he can't do it, but it's going to be a lot for him to get it done and then also bring them home during the end. Because what I've noticed that the Lakers have been doing, first, second, third, they just want to be close. Fourth quarter is when they try to do their push and try to close the game and try to get distance. They just play within 5 to 6 points of Miami, and then at the end, that's when they pour it on. And so
you can't be doing that against a team like Miami in these type of circumstances.
You can't, but it has worked for them. 3 games, it's worked for them. So they're continuing that model that, look, we only need to get 1 game out of these 2. We don't feel, because, look at the pattern. So first game was a blowout. Second game was close, but they got it. Third game, Jimmy Butler showed up. They got it. Fourth game, they got that one as well, close game, but they were able to pull it out during the end of the stretch. Game 5, same, down to the wire, but Miami was able. So if you're looking at the pattern of these close games, it's been Laker Heat, Laker Heat.
Right.
So they're expecting that they're going to get one. You're not going to be able to beat us twice down the stretch, and that's kind of why I'm saying if we just look at the way that they've been playing, depending that AD is still able to go, they could very well down the stretch knock this out and it'll be over. And we'll talk about the great things that Jimmy did in his mustache, and then we'll celebrate the Lakers in their championship. And that's pretty much the way that I see it.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you why right here. I found it.
All
I'm
right.
gonna tell you why right here.
And then
I'm
give
gonna
us your
tell you
prediction
why
for Game 6 after.
they should rest AD. All right. Do y'all know who's leading in minutes in this series? On
Jimmy
the floor?
Butler.
Yep.
Yeah, he played 47 minutes last night out of 48.
214.
He's averaged
minutes.
45 minutes a game so far this series.
You rest AD. You know how many minutes Jimmy Butler has? 10 minutes played. You want to know what his defensive rebound percentage is? 13.5.
Far.
You want to know what his total rebound percentage is? 5.9. You want to know what his steal percentage is? 4.8.
Yeah.
Give J.R. Smith and Dwight Howard's only played 70 minutes. Give J.R. Smith and Dwight Howard game 6. You still might win. You never know. But let's take 47 additional minutes off of Anthony Davis and give him an extra week of rest. Because by that time, Jimmy Butler's going to be at about 260 minutes. And then we're going to have the Lakers will have a fresh Anthony Davis in there. Jimmy Butler is playing too much. I know that sounds crazy, but they are so dependent upon this man.
They are.
If he is not in
But that's
there
why
the
they brought him into
entire
that role,
game,
though, because they knew he could
he's
take
going
it.
to lose. If he's not in there the entire game, he's going to lose. And guess what's going to happen? He's going to get tired. It's already been 5 games, bro.
Yep.
I know how the human body works. It's been 5 games. The best scenario for the Lakers is to rest AD. Make Jimmy Butler play 47 to 48 minutes for 7 games. Let's see his stamina then. If the Heat can still pull that off over LeBron James, Dwight Howard, Rajon Rondo, Danny Green, Alex Caruso, Kyle Kuzma, and Anthony Davis, then he might go down as the greatest basketball player in history. Okay, with his squad, come on now. Play the long game. It's chess, not checkers. I know they want to jump in and close it out. Let's just let him play. No. First of all, Anthony Davis only signed a 1-year contract.
Yep.
What are you really going to do for him if you break him? All right? We know how injuries are on big people, on big guys. Look at poor KD. Rest this man, especially if you plan on signing him for another 3 years or at least 2 years. Rest this man. Protect your back-to-back future championships coming up. Rest him game 6. Let him come back in game 7. Jimmy Butler will have 260 minutes going full bore, offense and defense. You can do that for a while. It's already 5 games. Pretty soon, that body's not going to be recovering like it was. Game 1, game 2, game 3, he's still coming in 100%. Now that soreness is starting to take effect.
Oh, and you saw that last night after the interview. He could barely get up out of his chair.
Yeah, buddy. And I know they're going to gas him up and juice him up and Gatorade him up and massage Whirlpool and all that. But 214 minutes. Let AD rest. J.R. Smith, when he's in the game, he's dominating on defense. Dominating. Let's throw him on Jimmy Butler. Why not?
So who you
Let's
got
throw
for
him on
game
Jimmy
6?
Butler. J.R. Smith has 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Jimmy
JR's
Butler has
barely
214. JR will be all up in his face. JR will be able to tell him, hey, you have a piece of asparagus between your third molar and your right canine, bro. That's how much in his face he will be. I think the Lakers should play the long game. That's my opinion. Too many minutes for Jimmy.
Okay.
Too many minutes.
And what you got to take for game 6?
I hope the Heat take it. Because I want to see a game 7 with a fully rested AD. I hope the Heat take it And I hope it's a blowout to where they can sit Jimmy Butler. I know this is crazy talk, right? I'm not even drinking yet. I know this is crazy talk, but I want to. I would want to see. I would want to see a game 7 with a fully rested Jimmy Butler and a fully rested AD. LeBron, it doesn't matter. He's going to be on load management. He can play 40 minutes, 38 minutes. He's going to be fine. He's going to be absolutely fine. But him and AD, they're putting in time. AD needs to rest. He doesn't need to play this game. Load management is a real thing. When you outplay your players, San Antonio Spurs with Kawhi Leonard, this is what happens. You run them into the ground. Let him chill. You know what I'm saying? Let him chill for game 6.
Stop. Okay. It's my outtake for game 6. I understand what you're talking about with AD, but this is the other thing. You've only got him for 1 year. He's a free agent next year. And you're also biting for a championship. So in my case, whether he's 50% or not, you have to play him no matter what, just because of the presence that he brings and also the scoring ability and distraction that he will bring alone. When he's out on the court by himself, he brings so much attention. That's what's been making LeBron so great this series on being able to be so dominant, is because he has a guy like AD to play alongside him. In my mind, if AD is 50% or not regarding that injury, he has to play this game 6 no matter what. For the Lakers to have a legitimate chance on closing out and getting this game 6, he has to play whether it be 20 minutes or not. Regarding other cast help, Danny Green's got to sit this game. I'd rather see Alex Caruso get all the minutes in his place. I see where you're coming at with JR barely not playing, and he does need to get a little bit of minutes. But I think Frank Vogel's been kind of careful about that because of the instance that LeBron and JR had during that Cleveland series. I don't think he wants that mistake again, and I think he's been kind of wary about that. And I don't think LeBron's forgotten about that either. So I think LeBron's kind of had a little bit of a say in that, completely disregarding their friendship as well. So I think there's a kind of a little bit of back chatter that's been going on, and I think that's why we haven't seen a lot of J.R. Smith in this series. But going back to the actual game itself, AD has to play. He brings too much attention. He's too good. I do believe the Lakers will close this out. Jimmy Butler's going to do his, but as we were talking before, you don't know which player is going to show up. If a player will show up in that case. You were also bringing up a good point with Jimmy Butler playing so many minutes as well. Jimmy going to be tired. We saw that last night. He played 47 out of 48 minutes. During his interview, he could barely get up out of his chair and walk down the steps. He'll get his treatment. He'll get his massages, this, that, and the other. But we won't see another triple-double from Jimmy Butler in Game 6.
He's in the hyperbolic time chamber right now. Training for a year. That's what Jimmy Butler's doing right now.
But the Lakers definitely have a chip on their shoulder. Definitely regarding everything on what happened last night with the jerseys, their mentality, everything that went on. And also with Jimmy Butler coming out and saying that Game 6 is ours no matter what. Lakers definitely have a chip on their shoulder. They're going to look out to come out and play. Hiatus had a really good point as well. They're playing too conservative. They need to come out and play more aggressive. They need to come out and try to close this game out early. Like I stated a few minutes ago, they need to come out like Denver did against the Clippers. They need to smash them down and throttle them to start out with and not give up and make them sit their bench at the end of the game. That's the only way I foresee this in an actual closing situation. If they don't do that, it's going to be a really close game, and Miami has a really good chance on pulling another one out and forcing a Game 7. But ultimately, if the Lakers do come out and force the establishment and come out aggressive and play the way that they need to play, and especially in a dire Game 6 and not have to worry about a Game 7 and having that stress on your back, they have to come out and play balls out and not leave anything out. You can't play that conservative through 3 quarters and let it dwindle into a few minutes left in the fourth, and then go all out. You can't have that Lakers team in that stage in that situation in this game, especially with an injured Anthony Davis. You have to take full advantage of everything and full advantage of how tired Jimmy Butler's going to be.
Yeah, I think you bring in a good point earlier when you were talking about the chatter between J.R. Smith's minutes and LeBron James. So LeBron James is actually the one who got J.R. Smith to the Lakers.
Yes.
But LeBron does control that team.
Yes.
If LeBron does not want J.R. Smith in that game, that coach is not going to put him in that
Frank
game.
Vogel's ear nonstop as soon as the game's done.
And at the same token, LeBron is a good guy. I know he gets a lot of hate, but he's a good guy. And I think if LeBron is smart, he will ensure that Anthony, or Ant, he probably calls him Ant, that Ant sits out this game. Because LeBron's calling the shots. Wherever he goes, he's the head coach, he's the general manager, you know what I'm saying? He's the trainer, you know?
He even though he's the player and has this, that, and the other, he might as well basically own the team. Yeah,
seriously. You might as well play in a suit. Play in a suit, bro. Play with a clipboard in your hand. I think the only part we disagree on is I don't think AD should play. And I think since Jimmy Butler's only played 10 minutes, man, what a different look.
You meant JR.
On defense that would give Miami. They would have to learn how to readjust. Like, what a different look that would be, because he's a monster. J.R. Smith, his basketball IQ was not that high in Cleveland, but he'll never make that mistake again. But J.R. Smith is a monster on defense. And I'll tell you the reason why Danny Green's been getting more points. Danny Green is a better defender.
Danny Green is a decent defender. I'll give him that.
Yep.
He's a better defender. That's why he's getting minutes. And they have him. I know everyone's saying, oh, they left him in there to hit that one shot. They have Danny Green in there for defense. They honestly don't even have him in there for 3 points. Not with his percentage. No. Not with what we went over, 8 for 24 or something.
It's literally
they have him in there for defense.
It's literally defense. And those are the things that kind of go unnoticed because nobody looks at Danny Green for his defensive prowess. They look at him for threes because he's been the on-off guy.
Right.
But he does play good defense. And if you had the choice between Danny Green and Kyle Kuzma, you're going with Danny Green.
Yep. Yep.
Like,
he got rings over here in San Antonio, baby. I know about his defense.
Right.
He got rings over here.
The only reason I bring up Alex Caruso is, especially in a game 6 and the situation of bringing in, Alex Caruso brings that energy and brings that mentality. I haven't seen Danny Green bring that mentality and energy, and I haven't seen either Kyle Kuzma or JR has brought that mentality when he's been given the minutes. But out of overall performance, and if you look at what Caruso's done and the way he's played since he's been getting minutes, you've got to give that dude that chance and that opportunity, especially with that energy that he brings in a closing situation like this game.
And that's another thing that I've kind of been concerned about. Throughout these playoffs, we've seen Alex Caruso, doing his thing, kind of feeling his way. And in this series, they really haven't let him get loose.
They haven't.
And I'm like, yo, that's your guy. That's the guy that is the caveat that will help you. You're looking for Kyle Kuzma isn't going to do it because he's too young-minded. Like, you got to go with people that have shown you. Like, when during their run against Houston, Caruso was great. He played great minutes for them. And I'm like, why now get to the finals and you won't let him get loose?
Yeah, and that's why I bring up that situation with Alex Caruso in Game 6. With everything that he's done so far and the mentality he brings and the plays alone when he makes the ability and gets to the hole, dude has an amazing leap ability and is not afraid of anybody and anybody. So that's another reason I think that he should be able to get minutes here in Game 6 is he's not scared. He will go on there and dunk on Bam Adebayo if he wants to. He has that ability to, and he has that mentality to, and that's what the Lakers need in this Game 6.
Exactly.
Yeah, LeBron should still taken that shot. I'm sorry. That was the wrong call. Everyone
Not
says
letting him
no,
off the
he
hook.
he did it.
Not letting him off the hook.
Everyone's like, Danny Green is a great three-point shooter. I'm like, really? Have you seen the last 9 games?
Yeah.
Like, really? He's a great three-point shooter? He might be above average, but great? Like, I think it's time to redefine the word great. Look at his last 9
Lamb
games.
is Lamb's the type of person that they're like, yeah, this car is great. Let me see the Carfax. Like,
yep, that's it. That's all I
let
want to
me
see, bro.
let me see the Carfax. Nope,
Yep.
nope, it's not.
Yep.
Because in game situations, the reason that they say Danny Green is great is because when you look at what he was able to do during the Miami series with San Antonio, he was going off in those series. So people idolize
with Kawhi.
Yeah, people idolize situations and they don't look at the whole picture.
Yeah.
Normally, Danny Green can't hit the bright side of a barn, but dude, there are those times that he gets this inclination and he becomes like, this outpouring out superstar that can knock down anything you throw his way. But those are special situations. They are not game deciding situations. Maybe he would have made that shot if Kawhi threw it to him, but LeBron, you can't trust him. Like he was the imposter. I've seen the meme of Markieff Morris and Danny Green being imposters, because as much as I want to throw shade at Danny Green for missing that shot, I will never forgive Markieff Morris for throwing that pass.
Man,
what were you doing?
That was something that we didn't talk about yet either, and I've been meaning to bring
that
up.
was like a J.R. Smith mistake, bro. That was like a
J.R.
Smith mistake.
How in the world? Yeah, I understand that you're being double teamed and you got the ball, but you've been in the league for so long now. How in the world do you throw the ball over everybody's head out of bounds in such a crucial time possession?
It's like that one kid who's so happy to get picked up on a squad when you're running fives back in high school. And as soon as he gets the ball, he dribbles. And as soon as one defender comes up to him, he just jumps up and chucks it. That's what that was.
Exactly.
Yo. Yeah, when I saw that last night, I was like, what in the world? Like, that's your final possession? Like, first off, why is he even getting the ball in his hand?
He got the rebound. Exactly. He got the rebound from the missed three-pointer.
Here's the thing. When you go back and you look at it, when you go back and you look at the plate.
Before he even got double-teamed, he should have gotten rid of it.
He gets the ball. LeBron is calling for the ball.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. As soon as he grabs the board, he should have gotten rid of it immediately. There's no reason to dribble out. There's no reason to even get in that double team.
I'm like, LeBron is calling for the ball. Danny Green, unfortunately, is still behind you. I wouldn't pass it to him, but he is behind you, wide open again.
Don't double it. Don't double up on that, man.
Right, and then you like, all of a sudden, listen. This is the part that when you're a person that loves basketball, there are certain plays and certain things that players do, and you go, that's not even something you do.
Exactly.
When have you ever seen?
When have you
Markieff
practiced this or ran a drill
alley-oop
like this?
To AD. You don't throw alley-oops. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that?
He thought, time to make millions, baby.
Right, like what? Sir,
time to save the world.
Sir, you don't throw alley-oops. LeBron, Rondo, they throw alley-oops, not you.
That's hilarious.
And then the look on his face when he says, "That's on me, sir." This is a closeout game. This like there are times during the regular seasons that you mess up and it's like, yeah, my bad. This ain't one of those situations. This is a situation where when you do that, you get punched in the chest.
Yeah.
Like this is do or die for us. This means, because we gotta be honest. Like when it comes to these championships, this means money for the winning city.
Big
so time. It goes beyond just basketball. Like the owner's gonna jump on. I'm pretty sure Markeith Morris had a meeting with the president of the Jenny Bus was like, so you don't want to play for us no more,
I
huh?
bet you Magic was in that meeting.
So you don't want to be a Laker here, is what I'm understanding.
Even though
Because
Magic stepped down, I guarantee you he was still in
you
that
know,
meeting.
it's just like, come on, like common sense plays. Like, okay, there's no reason that like you have not. Remember when they picked up Markeith Morris? He hasn't built chemistry with AD.
No.
Never
Nobody.
have you seen him throughout this entire playoffs ever attempt that. It was so weird to see him try to alley-oop AD
Yeah, it
in
doesn't make
crunch time
sense.
situation. It's like, dude, why would
And
your
that's where
brain
IQ
say,
comes into
I'm
play.
gonna alley-oop this. I'm gonna throw it up. I promise somebody was playing 2K too much, and
Yeah,
he had a
right.
flashback. He had a
That turbo.
flashback.
That jump stop.
Oh man, that's too funny.
It was terrible, man. And I mean, that's why I said as much flack as because Danny Green's shot, yes, that sucked, but that was not the end of the game.
No.
Why'd he leave
What
his hand
did
up
them
though?
in was that
Like, what's her
alley
face in
oop,
love and
that
basketball?
like that alley, like what you turn over. If you don't turn over the ball, the final shot goes to y'all.
True that. True that.
They never get another
Yeah.
chance at possession.
Nope.
And LeBron shaking his head, rolling his eyes in the dark.
Those are the plays. Those are the plays that I'm talking about. That's why I said when Jimmy makes that statement about, we're gonna win game 6, these are things that I go back to. If he doesn't throw that horrible pass and uses his IQ and gets it to LeBron and LeBron hits a fadeaway, guess what? Game's over.
Yeah. Or even
So
like we were just talking about, Danny Green's behind you. That you could at least still pass it to Grant Danny. Danny's not 100% always gonna take that shot. Danny's got
This is
smarter
true.
IQ than that to get it to
I mean-
somebody else if he necessarily has to.
he don't have smarter IQ. He just know
Yep.
that he's not gonna make it. So
Yep.
he'd be like,
he lost his confidence
not
on
me.
that shot. He might never shoot again.
not me.
He might never shoot again. You ain't finna put this on me, Stephen A. Smith.
Not me. Y'all will not be
Oh,
making
man.
memes of me tonight.
That's too funny. All right, I believe that wraps up all of our NBA talk. Sunday is the game 6, guys. Sunday is game 6. Something
Yeah.
to really look forward to. It's going to be a huge game. Both teams are going to be coming out looking for something to prove.
This
Jimmy's
is
already
true.
stated they got game 6. The Lakers
I
have to
believe him.
retaliate and come back from 1, their choice, and 2, dismantling and pretty much throwing the game at the end of game 5. So it's going to be something to look out for. It's going to be a great game 6. Make sure you tune in for that. And on Tuesday, we'll be covering that game on our next podcast, along with the games as well. So make sure to
I'm
tune
just-
in for that.
I'm just waiting for them to say Mamba jerseys again.
I'm
do
waiting
it.
for it too.
Don't do it.
Man, could
You
you,
better put on that
imagine
Moses
if
Malone.
they came out and said they're wearing the Mamba jerseys again?
Everybody would just,
imagine?
internet would go crazy. No,
They would have a feeding frenzy over that.
listen.
They better
The
wear
most-
some Black Lives Matter or something else.
Listen, the most disrespectful meme that I've seen thus far, in just wrapping up everything, was a meme of Kobe in heaven telling them, "Take them jerseys off."
Oh no!
Oh, that's
Oh,
horrible. Oh, that's horrible.
Man.
Oh, man!
And you know what? I could
Hey,
see
right,
Kobe
though.
honestly saying that. Honestly,
I said
I
that
could
is
honestly
such his
Kobe saying
mentality.
All right, I gotta throw
Man,
some bet emotes in there for
them,
that.
take them off. Take them off.
Feels bad.
That is not how
Oh
you
my
represent me.
go ahead and just rip that right off, chat.
Exactly.
Just rip it right off.
That's horrible.
That's funny.
Oh man.
All right, rolling into our next topic, guys. Rolling into our next topic. Thursday night's NFL game.
Oh my lord.
Quite an interesting game, guys. Very interesting game. The Chicago Bears ended up edging out Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. One of the biggest topics throughout the entire last couple of days is whether or not Tom Brady actually knew it was third down or fourth down. Bruce Arians immediately after the game came out and stated that, yes, Tom Brady, in fact, knew which down it was, 100%, no doubt about it, ifs, ands, or buts.
False.
A day later, Tom Brady comes out and says, yeah, I made a mistake. I should have went for the first down instead of the yards. So, why, can you tell me this? Why is Brady on the field asking like this if it's third down or fourth down when you completely know which down it is? You know the state of the game. You've been in this multiple times in your career and been in game-winning drives in this situation in your career, and you're telling me that you're trying to play off that you don't know which down it is. It sounds like he's either trying to hide something or he's trying to hide something.
Yeah.
He ain't got that spy on the opponent's side anymore in his headset, bro. That's what it is.
Seeing that really surprised me. Me being a Patriots fan, of course, I've known and been watching Tom Brady all my life. I have never seen Tom Brady make a mistake like that in my life, chat. Ever. Yeah, I've seen mistakes of him throwing interceptions or taking a sack or a sack fumble, but I have never seen him question the actual down of a game where it's on the line and you have no idea what's going on, or you're so playing that you don't know what's going on. You guys know Tom Brady fairly well. I know that for a fact. What are your guys' thoughts on this? It's not Tom Brady. I've never seen this before. Please enlighten me on your guys' thoughts on this.
I honestly think that he is still used to the Patriots organization. The
Facts.
Patriots are the most organized sports franchise, okay? Not football franchise. They're the most organized sports franchise.
And that goes
Over
back
there,
to last week, too, of what we stated about the New England Patriots system being the hardest system ever to be in.
learn
And there's been
in the
multiple
NFL.
players that have come out and said that. Hall of Famers have come out and said that have gone
They
into
bring
the
in
system
players,
and
those
said that
players
they
are
can't
gone
learn
after
it
1
because
year.
it's so difficult.
Yep. True. And it's too disciplined. But the New England Patriots system is one of those systems where you're like the president of the United States as quarterback there.
Right.
When Cam Newton has his helmet on, he has people in his ear saying, typically on this play, 46% of the time, they're going to do a zone blitz. You know what I mean? It's 3rd and 6, so we usually have trouble doing this. We're going to test that. Like, they have everything coming at them.
Yes.
Everything. Like how that show West Wing, when
and
the
all
president's
that
walking
starts
and everyone's
immediately
giving them all
after
the
their
info.
game's done in the previous week. They follow into the
Correct.
next day, and they're already planning schemes, what down they're going to be on, what play they're running. Like, everything's already pre-planned on what the New England Patriots are going to do for the first week.
With Tampa Bay, Tom Brady is, for the first time in his career, having to be Andrew Luck. All right. Andrew Luck was everything for the Colts. He ran everything. Okay.
Facts.
The entire offense, plays, audibles, reading the defense, calling out the defensive, like everything. For the first time in Tom Brady's career, he's having to be a full-time coach, a full-time offensive coordinator, and just the captain of that offense without immense help from an entire organization to make sure that he has everything he needs. He's having to be Andrew Luck and or Aaron Rodgers out there, and I'm not sure if he's capable of doing it. I will give him some credit, though. I do think interceptions are worse than this play, and this is still a game that doesn't matter. But something else I hope to touch on a little bit later is it does relate to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but Mike Evans, he's like the wide receiver in the NFL that defenders pass interfere against the most.
Yeah.
And it's making Tom Brady look bad. Every game, there's like 3 defensive passing interference calls on Mike Evans' side. Why can nobody cover this man? I don't.
He's a
He's
difficult
not.
cover. When he's healthy, he's hard to cover.
He's not putting up Michael Thomas numbers. He's not putting up Devontae Adams numbers. He's not even putting up Julio Jones numbers. There's a flag every single time. Every single time.
That's just because of the ability and what he can do and what he brings to the table, though. And it's been seen in multiple seasons when he is healthy. Dude will absolutely go off.
Yeah, so I'm tired of hearing people say Tom Brady doesn't look as legit as he did in New England. First of all, New England, was he throwing deep passes or not? No. Let's be real. He was not throwing deep passes.
5-7 yards.
It was all slant.
I think the deepest pass that I saw him throw in the last 3 seasons was a Super Bowl pass to Rob Gronkowski for that like 30-yarder to set up for the touchdown.
Yeah, but he throws all slants. He looks elite to me. I've been watching football my whole life. He looks elite to me. He's making deep passes. Did y'all see Mike Evans drop that deep pass?
I haven't seen Brady throw passes like
that
since we've had Randy Moss.
You saw that hiatus?
Yep.
He dropped that. Oh, that was a touchdown.
Yeah.
Tom Brady dropped it right into his hands, bro. It bounced off your arms.
All he had to do was just go like this and catch it in between his arms.
That's it, bro. But yeah, I think Tom Brady's just for the first time having to be Andrew Luck out there, because I remember everything Andrew Luck had to do out there as the
Andrew Luck was running for his life. Fortunately, Brady doesn't have to deal with that because the Bucs have a decent offensive line, and Andrew Luck unfortunately didn't have that when he was there in his first beginnings of the career, and that's why unfortunately he was forced to run out of the pocket and took the hits that he did, and was unfortunately had to, well, by choice, retire from the NFL. But I completely agree. As much as a Brady fan that I am, and as much as I followed him, I'm not a Brady fan this year, obviously, because he's with the Bucs. I still follow everything, this, that, and the other. But as far as all that goes, it's 100%. Brady's never had to go through any of this in his career. Maybe in the first year or so, Josh McDaniels and all that weren't there yet. But when you have everything already planned out for you, and everything's already in a scheme, and it already works in your favor to where you just basically have to go out and execute, you really don't have to do much. But in this situation where you're in a whole new different team, you've got basically no chemistry because of everything that's been going on this year. And then you also have a new head coach and a new system that you're working with and still learning that and trying to get your connections down with your players. He's never had to do that in his career and his life. It's definitely taken a toll on him, and we've seen that. And
the penalties from that undisciplined offensive line.
Yep, the penalties.
God,
and
penalties, bro.
This is the first time in a long time that I've seen Brady throw consistent pick sixes in the beginning of the career. All right,
dude,
the
he's
beginning
mad.
Of the season, rather, not his career.
He's playing frustrated back there. He's mad.
He is, and he's showing it on the sideline too. And even the Patriots organization and some players reached out and said that about him, is they were starting to get tired of his mentality, his frustration, his so-called leadership in the locker room. I think that's finally starting to hit some players in the Bucs organization, and I think that's starting to affect some players' mentality on how they look and take Tom Brady as well. Because, like we were just talking about, there's basically all those players on the Bucs, besides Leonard Fournette, Tom Brady, and Rob Gronkowski, that whole offense is familiar with itself. So when you look at it and you're bringing in a guy that's had locker room issues in the past, and his team has came out and said that this year, and you're now seeing it on the sideline, you got to think about that and how much it's taking effect on your team, let alone your players, and the whole vibe and mentality of that organization right now as well.
What you think, Hiatus?
Great. So I just think when it comes to Tom Brady, I think that most of the people kind of just assume that because Tom Brady is viewed as the GOAT, him going to another team would kind of be like how LeBron went from Miami to Cleveland. He said it was going to take some time, but you the GOAT, so y'all going to the chip. And
get that team to the finals.
Right, like they don't want to give the time, the energy for cohesiveness with the team, for him to gel with him, to find what his options are, for him to get used to their offensive line, their schemes and stuff like that. Because it's gonna take a while for them to get used to Tom Brady in the way that he plays. And you've seen that from week 1 up until now. Like when
Yes,
he played against
by
Drew
far.
Brees, he looked disheveled, it looked crazy. Then you've seen, okay, they could be down by freaking 3 touchdowns and then win the game. Like he still has his IQ when it comes to being, one of the great quarterbacks. It's just he has to get used to the team. It's a different team. It's a different scheme. But most people don't like the growing pains. So it's like,
Exactly.
why is he messing up? Aside from the fact of his Achilles heels, I will say that he'll be fine. They will be in contention when it comes down to it because we've seen this with Tom Brady. How many times did New England people were like, "Oh, he's washed. He's getting
Yep.
old." They went nine and
That's
seven, and
all
then
I
they're in
dealt
the
with the
playoffs.
last 3 years. Is we come out the first couple of games. Oh, Tom Brady's not himself. We're not seeing the same Tom Brady. This isn't the same New England Patriots.
Yep,
And look what happens at the end of the year. All that stuff fuels Tom Brady. It lights a fire under his ass, basically. And it's come to proving that the last couple of years with Super Bowls, AFC championships, this, that, and the other. So eventually they will get their stuff worked out and everything will come under control. But it's just going to take a matter of time before they get all the right pieces put together and get everything communicated right.
absolutely, absolutely. And then the bandwagon people will hop back on and be like, "I've always been a Bucks fan." No,
Yo.
no, you haven't. No, you haven't. Let's go check your history on Facebook. You've been with 3 teams in the last 2 years. So, but I mean, it happens every year. That's one of the things that I do love about the NFL is that you can't gauge it too quickly. The NFL
True that.
is a season of halves.
Yes.
So some teams are great
Any
in the
given
beginning
Sunday.
half, and then the second half of the season they suck. But that don't mean that the team is bad. It's just that's once they get into the latter parts of the season, injuries take place. Cohesiveness is a little off, and then they
Certain
get into the
mentalities take
playoffs,
place.
and they're back again. So
Yep.
like I don't ever read too much into it unless it's something that's sticking out.
Right.
Like like you got to show me a game where Tom is just throwing interceptions and just sitting on his butt. Then
Yeah,
I'll
you
say,
won't find
yeah,
that game.
okay,
Yeah.
Tom is on his way out. Like he need like when Brett Favre was in the league and they kept bringing Brett Favre back. It pained me because I remember Green Bay Brett Favre.
Yep.
I remember this guy. He was just a gunslinger, and to see him kind of like still tried to be that person, but he didn't have the arm. So like
he
he's just
did in the
throwing.
first
I was
year or
like,
so
oh,
with the Vikings
God.
because he had Randy Moss to bail him out. But as soon as he lost Randy Moss
He had
and his wide
Adrian
receiver
Peterson to
abilities,
bail him out.
Yeah,
it was
He had
done after
AP.
that. Yeah, that too.
yeah.
Missed,
It
he
like you've
turned
seen
into
the
4 picks a
'Cause
game. I was like,
that
oh,
was
seen
Brett
the
Favre's
decline.
first touchdown pass was to Randy Moss in his first game with the Minnesota Vikings.
I
Yep.
was like, Brett, you got them Wranglers on too tight, bro. I
Listen,
need you to loosen up.
look, you know that it's bad when you have to come out after leaving the league and tell them, listen, do not call me. You tell the teams, if you call me, I'm going to answer. So do not call me because I
Right.
don't want to play anymore.
Bro,
I'm
The
too
thing
weak for
is-
this. It's like a drug for me. Get away.
Exactly.
the thing is, imagine being in a city that has a trash baseball team, a trash hockey team, and a basketball team and football team, and you get to sign somebody like Brett Favre.
Right.
Yeah.
Sold
This is
out.
true.
Season ticket
This is true.
holders sold out. Concessions, jerseys. You almost double your revenue from the previous year when you were just, when you
Mhm.
didn't have a Brett Favre. You
Yep.
almost
This
double
is
your
true.
revenue. Tourism,
Uh,
everything. People buying out hotels, rent-a-cars, like it increases the money. So let's
It-
not even pretend like this is just a football decision.
It
Right.
wasn't.
They might hate
wasn't.
Brett Favre, but oh my gosh, he can put your city on the map.
It wasn't. And I mean, the first year they were, it was really good. But it like I said, just to see, just because I knew how good he was,
Right.
to watch that ladder, it was like, come on,
It was sad to see. It was sad to
come
see.
on, man.
It kind of
feels
hurt his
horrible.
reputation in a way too. I think. Not really his reputation, but his
It's like,
his stats in Hall of Fame. Everything put together regarding all of that, if you want to so call it.
I gotta
Yep,
tell you, I've never
it's
liked
like-
Brett Favre.
it's
Too
like
many
watch. He was a
Sorry.
gunslinger, man.
No,
He was a
there's too many
gunslinger.
ways.
He was like Randall Cunningham.
I
He would
liked
just
watching him.
he would just Warren Moon. Like, these were gunslingers, man. They would look. Hey, I'm gonna toss it, so you better go get it.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay in the pocket till I get hit, and I'm making this throw.
I'm throwing it up there, so you better go get it. Like, you don't really have too many of the gunslinger quarterbacks now, because a lot of the quarterbacks now are more mobile.
Yep.
But I mean, it made for exciting football.
How many Super Bowls does Brett Favre have?
Oh man,
One? Is it one?
Was it one? I know he's gone to.
It's only the one Super Bowl.
Only the
And
one.
that
Okay.
that was the one that he won against Denver Broncos. Or yeah, Denver Broncos, right?
Yeah.
And he has career 336 interceptions. Okay.
Yeah.
Eli
Yeah.
Manning, 2 Super Bowls, both against Tom Brady and Belichick, 244 career interceptions. Don't ever say that Eli Manning is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. If we're gonna
Oh, here we go again.
I'm just saying, bro. 336 picks.
Listen.
LB.
Listen.
LB,
Listen.
you can win a Super Bowl and throw 336
Oh my
picks, bro.
God.
And you don't even play QB,
Oh
bro.
my god.
You're a slot
So-
receiver, bro.
Oh,
So I
man.
can see that this is going to be a recurring mantra. Anytime we talk about football, we have to talk about the fact that Eli deserves first ballot.
Name a trash
Somehow.
quarterback. Name a trash quarterback. Just name one. And I'm gonna tell you how many picks less.
Like currently playing?
No, a retired one, just like Brett Favre. Peyton
Trash?
Manning, 251 picks, bro. Dan Marino, 252 career picks. Johnny Unitas, 253. Vinny Testaverde, 267. Brett Favre is 336. Drew
But-
Brees, this is how great Drew Brees is. Only 239.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That is incredible.
And we brought
Phillip
that up
Rivers,
last week too.
It's his
I specifically said
tenure.
Drew Brees is probably one of the best accurate quarterbacks, if not the best accurate quarterback I have ever seen in the NFL.
This is
Terry
true.
Bradshaw. How many Super Bowl rings does he have? 4? 6? Something crazy?
4.
4? Only
yeah,
210 career interceptions. Brett Favre has him by over 120 picks, bro. Over Terry Bradshaw. Tom Brady, 183. That's insane for as many Super Bowls he has.
Yeah.
And the Patriots have never been a run first team. That's crazy.
Yep.
The Patriots only turned into
The
a run
only
first team like 2
time
years ago.
we were a run first team is when we had Corey Dillon.
Y'all still weren't even run first then.
We
Y'all
were,
barely became
we
run
were
first
about
2 years ago.
60-40 at that time. We
With-
leaned a
with-
little bit more towards Corey, but we still threw the ball quite a bit.
Yeah, like 2 years ago when y'all first got Sony Michelle and started running the Sony Michelle, James
Sony's
White,
trash.
then y'all be-
Well, we need
No,
to let go
no.
of Sony. That dude's
Dude,
too inconsistent.
what? No, oh, no,
Nah,
no.
we need to let
Baby,
go
no.
of Sony.
Baby, no. I
That
can't
dude,
let you
I'd
do
rather
it.
run Damian Harris than Sony Michelle at this point.
We don't even know about Damian Harris yet.
We saw Damian Harris last week.
I'm
Or
scared.
the week
We
before.
don't
The week
even
before,
know.
Damian Harris in his first
That was
start in
once.
an NFL game had a 100-yard game.
That was once. Look what Reggie Bush did, bro. Look what Reggie Bush did.
Now,
True.
Reggie Bush was one of my favorite players. He right here behind my back.
Let's see. You know what Sony Michelle did last year? 247 attempts, 912 yards, 7 touchdowns.
Trash.
He averaged 7.8 in 2018, 209 attempts, for 931 yards, averaged 4.5 yards,
and for being
6
that good of a
touchdowns.
running back in college and being a #1 draft pick for the Patriots
Yeah,
in the first round,
is he
should
a
have at least had
primary? Is
1,000
he a?
yards.
He's not a primary running back.
No, but that's because that's the
this is
Patriot
him
system.
sharing.
That's been the Patriot system for years now.
That's what I'm saying. Imagine if he's not sharing the carries. If he does this with the ball,
He's not
I
really
wouldn't
sharing
say
the carries, though.
50%
He's
of the
being
time.
taken off of the field because of passing abilities between the 3 other backs.
No, bro. Come on now. If he
The
wasn't
only
sharing
other
any
person
touches
that's
with
getting as
Rex
many carries
Burkhead
as he
or
is
James
Rex
White, he would
Burkhead.
be dominating.
James
bro.
White
He'd
does
be
not get as many
dominating the
carries
league.
as Sony Michel does.
He'd be dominating the league if it wasn't for James White and for Rex Burkhead. He'd be dominating the league if it wasn't for
Rex
the
Burkhead on the
Patriots.
ground, yes. But as far as James White goes, James White is mainly strictly passing downs. That's why I say
Exactly. So imagine if Sony Michel was in there for
because
those
he's been
downs
getting
too.
taken out because of passing downs.
Yeah, it feels bad. I like Sony Michel.
It feels
Always
bad.
have. He's a solid fantasy, like 9 to 11 fantasy points.
I will
You know
never
what I mean?
draft a. I have said this since Corey Dillon days. I will never draft a New England running back, and I am a diehard New England fan. I will never do
Dang.
it. It's too inconsistent. You never know
It
which
is.
running back you're gonna get, and you got 4 running backs that you don't know will go for the 20 points that week. It'll be James White one week. It'll be Rex Burkhead with 3 touchdowns the next week. And then out of
Yeah.
nowheres, you'll have Brandon
Inconsistent.
Baldwin come in as the 5th back in the team and come in for 2 touchdowns.
New England be
you
using them
honestly never
creative
know
players.
who is going to be in New England for a running back.
You know, in Madden, if you don't change anything, it just says player on the back of his jersey.
Yeah.
New England got them creative player running backs. They just be throwing anybody in. Here
Dude,
comes James
you
Player,
remember Sony
double
Gray?
zero.
Do you remember Sony Gray? Or was it Sonny Gray or Sony Gray? I think it was Sony Gray. You remember
I don't
Gray?
know.
His
I remember
one
Gray.
lone game came in for like 20 touches and over 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. You guys don't remember that game?
I don't.
The only reason he didn't play another game for the Patriots, he showed up late to practice the following day after the game, and then we ended up releasing him, and he went to the Miami Dolphins after that, and has basically been nothing ever since. He came out and showed out for one game. He had 200, I want to say exact, he had 224 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground on like 18 or 22 carries, something like that. Dominated the game. He was easily going to be the lead running back for the rest of the year. Shows up to practice late the next day and doesn't see another down for the rest of the year.
Feels bad.
That feels
terrible.
really bad.
Doesn't see a down for the rest of the year. And then gets traded, not even traded, released and picked up by a rival.
And not a good one.
No.
Me.
But yeah, I've always stayed away from New England running backs. I will never draft a New England running back. As much as I am a New England fan, I'll never ever do it. I won't ever do it. Let alone, I even have a hard time drafting Tom Brady or anybody else like that. The only person that I would ever consider drafting before he got hurt was Rob Gronkowski. That was the only player that I always looked at the drafting regarding the Patriots. Other than that,
Ooh.
I didn't care.
Speaking of Rob Gronkowski, every time he has to get up off the ground,
Oh,
he looks
man.
like he's 67 years old.
Yes,
Mhm.
Bro,
he is. Should
looking
have
like he-
not
Yep.
came back.
he rolls up his jersey, slips that insulin shot right into his pancreas, and then gets right up off the field.
Oh man, that's crazy. That's too
He said
funny.
he tried. I tried.
Yeah. Hey, he
Alright.
was running on that one play though. He was moving. He was moving slowly, but he was still breaking tackles.
Going into the week, guys, we have a couple of interesting matchups this week. One of them that I do want to point out to, even though it might be a very lopsided game, but the one game that I do see here off looking at some of the games right now, the first one that pops out to my mind is the Cincinnati-Baltimore game. Joe Mixon was questionable this week. He was questionable last week. I foresee that he won't have any issues. He's still going to play. He had a huge game, his first 3-touchdown game that he had in his career so far.
Yeah, baby.
And Joe
Big year for
Burrows,
the Mix-
even though he just got his first NFL win, has been a very consistent rookie quarterback so far. He's the only rookie quarterback. We touched on this last week. He's the only rookie quarterback to throw for 300 yards in his first 4 starts. And then you got a back like Joe Mixon as well. What are your guys' thoughts on this game? It may be a very lopsided game, but in my eyes, if they can get Joe Mixon going, and if they can get that pass going at the same time, this might actually be an interesting game.
Great.
I think that the Ravens destroy the Bengals.
And that's what I was saying. It could be a very lopsided game, but it all, like I said, depends on if they can get Joe Mixon running like they did last week. It can completely change the outlook of this game. Because, one, time of possession, that eats up a lot of clock when you got to do running the ball like that. So that's going to take away of a lot of plays and a lot of abilities to where Baltimore can go down and retaliate in this, that, and the other. So if Joe Mixon can keep throwing the ball like he's been doing, or not Joe Mixon, if Joe Burrows can keep throwing the ball like he's been doing, and Mixon can keep rolling on the ground, it's going to eat away a lot of the clock for the Baltimore Ravens, and it could actually make out for an interesting game. The Bengals have actually been playing fairly decent so far this year. They've lost close games.
They're in one of the toughest divisions in
They are.
NFL football.
They are.
Everyone is 3 wins except for them.
Yes.
Cleveland
and like I said,
Browns
the
came to
games that
hoop.
they have lost have been close games. Very
But
close games.
to me, this
they
is no
tied against the
question.
Eagles.
If
They only lost by 5 against the Browns, and they only lost by 3 against the Chargers. So
I was gonna pick
they
any game-
could have been 4-0 at the start of this season.
if I was going to pick any game this season so far, from all the games that we've already had, where any team could literally score over 56 points, it's going to be this one.
I don't think so. Cincinnati has always had a decently average to good defense. I don't foresee this game reaching the 50-point area. I'll give, if it is going to be a lopsided game, I'll give Baltimore the win 38-14. But I don't see a very high game like that. Cincinnati has always had a reputable defense, and I don't think it'll turn out to a game like that, in my opinion.
Cincinnati has been a joke in this division for as long as I can remember. They don't belong in this division. The Patriots belong in this division.
Oh, God.
And the Bengals belong competing with the Bills, the Jets, and the Dolphins. Am I lying, Titus? Am I
Could
lying?
you imagine that
Because
division?
listen.
Oh, my Lord.
What I was gonna say was when he was doing all that talking about the running game, I'm like, heard it all before. One word I will say to you, Corey Dillon.
Yes.
We've seen this before.
Yes, we have.
And it still doesn't pan out. Like, it doesn't matter when it comes to, like, the Bengals had a good run. They had a great wide receiver, and a great running back, and a pretty decent defense, and pretty decent quarterback, and still it ain't happening.
No, it hasn't.
I see, shake and bake. Y'all know the Ballad of Ricky Bobby?
Yep.
Have you seen the new
Lamar
commercial
Jackson?
about that, actually,
Bro,
where there are young
Lamar
kids?
Jackson and Mark Ingram are going to hit the Cincinnati Bengals with that shake and bake. That's exactly what's going to happen. It's not even going to be close. Shake and bake. Shake and bake.
Have y'all seen that new commercial, though?
Which one?
No? It's literally got a commercial of Ricky Bobby's dad. And then it's got Ricky Bobby and what's-his-face. And they're as young kids. And they're like, all right, we're going to pull this shake and bake. And they're like literally like these 8-year-old kids driving these like muscle cars. And they're pulling a shake and bake just driving down the road.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
So the Cincinnati Bengals in rushing.
Joe Mixon's been a top 5 running back the last 3 years of rushing.
They're ranked number 19 in rushing yards. The Ravens are ranked number 3. I mean, it's not even. I don't even think it's gonna be in close.
But you
I don't
also
even
got to
think.
look at it though. Look how much of that rushing average that Lamar Jackson's taken. It's not actually
Exactly.
all going to the
That's why
running
I said
backs.
that's all they need is Lamar Jackson. That's all they. That's all they need is Lamar. That's how good Lamar Jackson is at running the football. You don't
Yeah,
even want to know how many passing yards this team does not have. They haven't even hit over 1,000 passing yards yet.
but that's what I'm saying.
Wow.
Yeah,
They're
that's
in the
sad.
700s actually.
Yeah,
Okay, they're in the
Yikes.
700s in passing
but
yards.
that's another
Like
thing
that's
though
insane.
too. That the Bengals up front defense has improved in the last couple of years. They've made some trades on that defense. They've acquired some people. Um, if you look, I'm actually about to pull it up right now.
The
Actually,
Bengals have the fourth worst rushing defense in the league right
is
now.
it the fourth
Fourth
worst?
worst. Yeah, they're letting teams score an average of 158 rushing yards.
Wow.
I don't know what injuries they have, but the only teams worse than them is the Dallas Cowboys, Houston Texans, Detroit Lions, Tennessee Titans, and Kansas City Chiefs. We
Wow.
all allow over 160 rushing yards.
Ooh, something to actually talk about really quick, guys. The Bills and Titans game has now been rescheduled for Tuesday because of COVID concerns.
Bills and Titans.
Oh
Bills and
man.
Titans game has now been moved, and then tentatively the Chiefs and Bills game has been moved from Thursday until Sunday because the Bills are on a short week. So that was going to be one of our next topics. So that's something that we're going to have to dive into and include that into as well. But we'll keep continuing about what we're currently discussing on. Sorry, it popped up as soon as I was looking at everything.
Oh, for sure. And
Um,
and in total defense, yards per game, the Cincinnati Bengals. Let's see where they rank. Oh yeah,
they're
22.
yeah they're
They allow an average of over 400 yards on them per game.
they did have a slow start to the season, but like I was saying, if they do have Joe Mixon, Joe Mixon does have another good game. What is Baltimore's defensive rank really isn't all that decent this year. I
It's
don't
really
think.
not. Yeah,
So
it's
that's
really
what I'm
not. They're
saying.
really not that
If
good
they
on
can
D.
get Joe Mixon going, it can be an interesting game. And
The problem is
the
even
Chiefs had
their
a really
offense.
good advantage on the run game too during that Chiefs Baltimore game. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a decent game. I want to say he almost eclipsed the 100-yard in that game. So Joe Mixon, in my opinion, is obviously a stronger running back than Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So he has definitely the ability of making that happen for them if it does come down to it.
Yeah, in total offensive yards, the Baltimore Ravens are actually worse than Cincinnati.
So that's what I'm saying. Their defense is suspect. So,
But it's because time of possession, man. The
right,
Baltimore
and
Ravens, they
that's
will
what,
hold that ball the
and that's
entire
why I
game.
brought up that though too, with how bad both defensive ranks are. If Joe Mixon gets going and takes that time of possession away from Baltimore, that's gonna limit Baltimore on what they can do on offense as well. So that's why I pointed out that first game, because a lot of people will overlook that, but I think it's gonna be a better game than what people are expecting.
Do y'all want to hear the craziest stat so far this year in the NFL?
Shoot.
The team with the number one offense is the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh yeah, that's easy. I already knew that.
Yikes.
Averaging 509 yards a game, over 400 passing yards a game, and over 101 rushing yards per game, averaging 31 points per game.
That's crazy.
In total yards, we are the number one offense.
Other than that, guys, there really honestly isn't a lot of good games this week. A couple of them that might stand out to a couple of people. You got two undefeated teams. The game that we were just talking about, the Tennessee and Buffalo game that just got moved to Tuesday because of the COVID. Both of those teams are undefeated. Tennessee is looking to come back. They had an unexpected bye week last week because of COVID, actually. They've had an extended week. Everyone should be plenty rested. Both undefeated teams. That's going to be a game to look at, too. And especially, like I said, that game just got moved because of COVID as well. Been a lot of games already that have been moved because of COVID this year already, and been a lot of moving around. Denver was actually pretty upset that their game got moved with New England this week because they were already situated. And Friday, the NFL was like, hey, we're going to move this game to Monday, when they basically already sent out their injury report, this, that, and the other, because that's the deadline for Sunday games, is to send out your final injury report on Friday afternoon. How much more of this are we going to see, guys? I mean, obviously it's been trending up and it's been getting worse in the last couple of weeks. Been multiple games moved out already. Been bye weeks been taken away from teams already regarding this. How is this going to reflect the attitudes, let alone teams and the league going forward?
I think this is going to continue to happen because it's good for business and it's good to keep players protected. There is only positives to what I see. Extending the NFL football season, if you have to, positive. Ensuring players are protected, coaching staff and everything, and they're taking the best precautions necessary whenever someone may test or may have been exposed to someone who is positive, best possible. Having everyone constantly talk about the NFL and them continually making headlines whenever it goes that a game has been moved, positive. More ratings, the more games they push back, who knows? We might see Cam Newton now since the game is pushed back. You know what I mean? Like, I see nothing but positives from this. The number one positive being ensuring that players and their teams, coaching staffs, and families are protected.
But my biggest outtake on it, though, is how is that going to affect the mentality of everybody, though, and opposing teams when they don't have a positive test and they're being forced to move when they're already been prepared for that game on that Sunday.
Oh, I'd be pissed.
You know what I mean? Like,
if we're planning for a game,
different things to certain teams, and it's eventually going to take a toll to where we may even see teams not even want to play that week. They may just say F it and be like, why does this fall on us? We're just not going to play. Like, we may honestly see that this year.
I would be upset. If I'm supposed to play tomorrow and I know Cam Newton's going to be out and then they push it to Monday or Tuesday or Thursday and now Cam Newton's playing, I'm pissed.
Exactly.
Okay?
And that's my biggest part of this and bringing this portion up is it's getting worse. And Denver already reached out to the NFL and said something about it. So how many more teams in the future, let alone now with this other game being moved out? This is back-to-back weeks now that the Titans game have been moved out, let alone postponed or been moved. So, I mean, it's getting worse. A lot of teams are going to be really mad. Denver's already been showing that. It's not looking good regarding that aspect. But as you stated, it's going to be positives regarding most of everything else.
You know what the Broncos should be focused on instead of complaining about that? You want to know? To all the Denver Broncos who are watching Mels, Shady, Just4Bad Sportscast, because I know you're in here.
Especially since we live in Colorado.
Sign Antonio Brown. Stop worrying about anything else. You need him.
He ain't going to be able to play for the next 4 weeks anyways. He's still suspended.
You need Antonio Brown and you need Colin Kaepernick yesterday. Go sign them. Have them work out.
Facts. Colin Kaepernick not being signed as at least a backup right now is a shame. Especially since they've already stated that since the beginning of the season before it even started. Roger Goodell came out and said that Colin Kaepernick needs to be signed. We're sorry, this, that, and the other. We're here at week 5. And
so
there's
does
been
Chicago.
multiple teams with quarterback injuries who need a quarterback or a backup quarterback.
And so does Houston. And so does Miami. Why are these teams not interviewing
Houston,
Kaepernick
Miami,
right now?
The Chargers,
and by the way,
with Tyrod Taylor being out now, they're down to one quarterback.
It only helps Denver. Postponing games only helps
quarterback.
Denver. What are they complaining about?
There's at least 6 teams in the NFL right now.
You get an extra
backup quarterback.
day to practice with your trash squad, Denver.
Like,
you shouldn't be complaining.
Back to the COVID talk though. Hiatus, what's your take on everything, man? Like, it's very concerning for the NFL right now.
I think it's kind of concerning for everybody. And when it comes to COVID, because this is one of the biggest things that I've always said when it came to COVID. So, pandemic comes out, everybody's sheltered in place, everybody's put in bubbles, everybody's tested. No vaccine, no cure, no nothing, no regimen. And then they go play. Like, nothing about the situation or the scenario has changed,
Right.
which means that you're still able to contract it and you're still like, go play. So you're going to run into that. It doesn't matter. Like, think about what the NBA had to do in order for them to be sure that no one could get ill. And even that wasn't foolproof, but they had to put them in a bubble.
Right.
You're trying to do it without a bubble while still having players travel, still having players with their families. There is no cure for this.
And what's crazy is that the other three major sports, like you just said, the NBA had the bubble in place. The MLB's currently got a bubble in place for the ALCS, NLDS, and the World Series. The NHL had a bubble in place regarding all of their playoffs. So why is it that even the NBA had the bubble in place when they came back after suspension before the playoffs even started? So I understand that you can have self-bubbles regarding your team, but why isn't the NFL stepped into place yet and actually put a actual bubble into place? Like, you got 32 teams in the NFL that have stadiums, and then you have all these college stadiums all around the United States as well. You're not telling me that you can't get at least within a 6-state vicinity and play within those stadiums and stay in those 6 states for the NFL season and playoffs. Like,
see, what's happening is that what's being exposed right now is you're seeing the difference between organized and unorganized.
Big time.
They
Big
don't
facts.
like they don't have a way to organize it and put it together because they have to, they got all of these players,
There is
all
a
of
lot
these
players.
teams, and it's like there's no way that you're going to tell these players, oh, well, we're gonna bring y'all to a bubble, and this is where you're gonna be,
and that's why you
this
have
is
the
what you're
waive out
gonna
process.
do.
That's why you're able to option out. You've had multiple players already option out regarding that. If you're not comfortable to play, then don't play. Like, that's your decision whether you want to or not. We've already seen that. So that's what kind of concerns me as well, is why haven't they been more strict about it? Like, all we see is,
Melby,
well, you need to wear your mask on the sideline, or when you go to talk to the ref, you need to wear a mask. Like, they're not taking everything into more serious precautions.
Well, I think everyone there has been tested, though, and that's why they're good. Like, at the NFL game, referees, the players, the coaches, they've all literally just tested.
But they're not testing as much
negative.
as like the NBA and everyone else has, though. They're only testing a couple of days a week, unlike the other major sports where they're testing everybody every single day.
I just want to know if their tests are free. Okay, 'cause we got to pay for ours.
These are facts. These are
just saying.
facts. But I
You're
mean,
rich and famous. You get
your
unlimited
point,
free
it's
tests.
just like Melby, like, you may have the option to go to work. Every day you have that option. You can go to work, or you can, or you're not. But you got bills that you have to pay. So yes, they can opt out. But at the end of the day, they have endorsements. They have all of this stuff. So they got to go to work. So most of them are kind of in a catch-22 situation. It's like, I can't afford to sit out and do nothing.
Right.
So I gotta kind of, play nice, even though I really don't want to be here. Like,
Right.
I
Big facts.
really don't want to do this, but I don't really have it. Doesn't feel like I have a choice because life decisions
But
that I've
comes
made.
out to another standpoint, though, that I want to bring out. These guys are multi-millionaires. You're telling me sitting out for one season is going to completely ruin your life?
I'll help you out.
Yes.
More money, more problems.
is financial? Is finance is not taught in the public school system.
Yeah.
People sign that first. And especially the rookies. Like, we know
the rookies is understandable.
Marquise Goodwin with the 49ers, he just had twin girls.
Yeah.
So that's why he opted out of the season. But he's got enough money. He's not a rookie on a rookie contract that's only a few $100,000.
Right.
You know what I mean? if you have a few $100,000, you're gonna pay off your student loans. If you didn't get a full ride, you're gonna buy your mama a house, because if you don't, you're not going to heaven. You know
Exactly.
what I'm saying? You're not going to heaven if you don't buy your mama a house. You got to buy a car. You got to get the engagement ring, right? Because she's not a gold digger. She's
Patty
in with
Mahomes
you.
already did that. You've seen that.
You know what I'm saying? And then as a rookie in the NFL, remember, you're getting hazed. You got to pay for all their lunches. You got to go to the dinner and pay for everybody's dinner. That tab alone is like 12 grand.
I've seen them tabs, man.
Yeah, bro.
Them rookie
you gotta
tabs
pay
they
for
get
everything.
left with are rough.
Yeah.
And
You
the
gotta pay
minute
for
that
Gatorade,
these restaurants recognize you, everything goes up.
Yo.
So what was $10 is $100 now.
Yup. Yup. You can't
It's
tip
crazy,
your
man.
postman $20 at Christmas now.
You're
okay?
right.
No.
You got
Not
a
at all.
Tesla. You got a Tesla in the driveway now, bro. You can't have no
man.
Tesla and tip $20. Not for
This
Christmas.
is true.
Not when Jesus was born. Nope.
Yes,
You gotta do better.
sir.
Oh man. Let's see. Anything else we want to touch base on regarding COVID in the NFL situations, this, that, and the other, guys?
Not in regards to COVID, but I do want to tell you there is a game that I am very excited about, which is tomorrow, and I think it's going to be the best game at 3:25 when we see those Indianapolis Colts take on those Cleveland Browns. I think that's going to be an amazing
I did actually
game.
pass that game. I did not see that game. That is
Colts are
actually gonna be a good
3-1.
game.
Browns are 3-1. The Colts have the best offensive line and best defensive line in the NFL, and I want to see if it holds up.
That is going to
I
be a
mean,
good game.
All I can say is
They're without Nick Chubb, though.
it's nice to see the Browns not suck.
No, it's not.
It is. It
No,
is,
it's not.
man. It's
The only
nice to see
Browns-
the Mud Dogs not suck, man.
The only player I like on the Browns is Jarvis Landry. Everybody else can eat a turd sandwich. I don't like
them.
I don't.
Let them tell them how you really feel.
Look, Cleveland.
I wanna
LeBron
say-
got
I wanna
y'all.
say Nick Chubb's
LeBron
out.
got y'all a championship. You're
He
good.
did.
Okay,
He did.
You're good. That's it. That's all you needed. You want to
Mm-hmm.
play Baker Mayfield all this money to be below average? You want to pay Odell Beckham all this money to have one good game out of 5? Like, you go ahead and do that, bro. You're in the hardest
True.
division in the AFC. I need you to make better decisions. Why did y'all draft Johnny Manziel?
I was about to say, there
Why
was
would-
Manziel.
Man, why would? Let's see. You know what? Let's go down
Good
the
old
list
Johnny
of
football
Cleveland's quarterback draft
Oh,
picks.
God. Do not go through that listing. It's like 25 bad
all.
quarterbacks.
Let's see. Let's
He's
see
gonna
here.
do it.
Cleveland's list of first-round draft picks. Let's go to Wikipedia.
Like
All
16
right.
of them have been quarterbacks in the last 25 years.
Let's start in 2010, I guess.
If it's been since 2010, I think they've only drafted 3 first-round quarterbacks.
Well, let's talk about just their first-round picks in general and see where they're at. All right. 2010, Joe Hayden.
Who plays now for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Correct. And is not that good. All right.
Actually, he
next.
showed out last year.
Phil Taylor.
Who?
Yep, exactly. Trent Richardson. Remember Trent Richardson, the running back?
Yep.
From
He
University
actually
of
was
Alabama?
one of the better running backs when he came into the league, and when
No,
he went,
was garbage.
Oh, are you kidding
He
me?
was trash. He was garbage. I had him. I had so much hope for him. I drafted him on my fantasy team that year. Let down. But he didn't get the ball as much as I thought he should have gotten the ball.
when he
Sometimes
got the
to be a running
ball-
back, you got to get going. You can't just have him in and run the ball 11 times a game. Like, let him get 23 carries and see what he does. They
Trent-
never did. They
Trent
never let him
Richardson,
get 23
before he
carries.
went through all of his
In
stuff
one
and
game.
injuries. He was a nice running back.
Yep. Also in 2012, Brandon Whedon. Remember that guy? All right. 2013, Mingo.
Mingo
Martavius
was actually
Le'Veon
nice.
Kiki
Mingo got traded, actually picked up by the Patriots and was on the Super Bowl team for that year. Mingo was actually a decent linebacker.
Justin Gilbert, 2014. Johnny Manziel, 2014. 2015, Danny Shelton, Cameron Irving, Corey Coleman. 2017, Miles Garrett. Now there's a player. There's a player.
Go back to the previous year. Who are the three?
2016 was Corey Coleman. 2015 was Danny Shelton and Cameron Irving.
Danny Shelton was nice as well.
Irving's on the Dallas Cowboys, I think. So I don't.
Danny Shelton actually came over to the Patriots and won a Super Bowl as well.
Well, he came over to the Patriots, but he didn't win no dang Super Bowl. He was just on a Super Bowl winning team. But Miles Garrett, Jabril Peppers, and David Njoku, 2017, that was a good draft.
Yep.
That was a good draft. 2018, Baker Mayfield, the clock's now out on him, but Denzel Ward, that's a great pick right there. That is a great pick.
So essentially, in the last 4 years, their picks have been nice, but
have they had a head office change in the last 4 years? Because I think they have.
Yeah, they have.
There's been a lot of changes.
Their owner now is actually the dude that put together the Kansas City Chiefs team and drafted Pat Mahomes.
Oof, feels bad. Imagine taking Mitchell Trubisky. Imagine taking Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah, right. All right, so moving into fantasy, guys. Fantasy sports, we were just talking about it. Nick Chubb's out this week. Coming back this week, you got Le'Veon Bell for the Jets. So that means a lot less Frank Gore. If you have Frank Gore in your lineups, make sure to look for somebody else because Frank Gore will not be there this week.
Drop him for a kicker.
And then another big one as well. Jimmy G is back this week for San Fran, guys. Jimmy Garoppolo's back too. So those are three of the biggest injuries / people that will be in and out this week that I've seen so far. Regarding running back wise, missing Nick Chubb for the next few weeks. Obviously, Kareem Hunt is probably not going to be available in your league. So definitely look for somebody that is going to be available. If Josh Kelly is still available for the Chargers, try to swing him up and pick him up because Austin Eckler is also out for the considerable future, so he will be taken over. Justin Jackson as well. Those two for the Chargers will probably split roles. Justin Jackson actually did pretty decent last year when Eckler was out as well, and when Melvin Gordon was out as well and going through his holdout. So two running backs that you maybe also have to pick up, and the Carolina back that's now taken the role there. Is it Buchanan, I think is his name? He's another considerable pick and available on my league. I don't know how James White's still available in my league. I highly doubt
he's trash.
I highly doubt that's your case. But if you're in a PPR league, definitely take advantage of that. I picked up Duke Johnson this week in my league just because of his ability. And also with the head coaching change in Houston, it's gonna be different down there. So that's something to look forward to. Is there anybody on your guys' listing for ads or drops or big key misses that you guys are looking at regarding your leagues?
Pick up if you don't have them, or get ready to start him if you need a flex. Philip Lindsay will be returning to action. Philip Lindsay from the Denver Broncos.
And that's going to take off a load off of Melvin. Melvin went off last week too, guys. Melvin hit the century mark, had a couple of TDs last week, and led that Denver team, basically. They won last week, right? For their first win?
The
if
Denver
I remember
Broncos,
right? I think I'm pretty positive. So that's going to be something to look at, for sure.
Yeah, they beat the Jets 37-28.
That's going to be something to look at. So if you do have Melvin Gordon in your lineup, guys, he obviously isn't going to be a running back one slot anymore with the return of Philip Lindsay. But be wary of that, because when Philip Lindsay's available and healthy, that definitely takes away of Melvin Gordon's abilities. And Philip Lindsay, when he gets his run going and he's a great passability catcher, it could be dangerous for Melvin Gordon and getting reps in that offense, especially with the new quarterback under there as well.
And I also, if you're in desperate need of a quarterback because so many QBs are playing like trash and you just want to take a shot, I believe Sam Darnold is out, so you can
Yes,
actually pick up
Joe
Joe Flacco in
Flacco is
any league
available
right now.
this week, guys.
Yeah,
Sam
you
Darnold
can
is
pick him up
out.
in any league.
Joe Flacco
Oh,
getting the start this week. Gonna be fairly
yeah.
interesting. Flacco didn't really do much of anything when he was with Denver. So him basically being plugged in and being into the game now, it's gonna be interesting for the Jets. One other one that I do want to point out too is Ron Rivera said he is still not giving up on Dwayne Haskins yet, even though he's still currently benched. They're starting Kyle Allen this week, and good old Alex Smith is taking the backup role. It's great to see Alex Smith back and playing football, guys. I'm glad that he's been able to get back up into the backup role. I would love for him to take some reps if Allen struggles early. I would love to see Alex Smith come in and take some reps. Such a horrific and drastic injury that dude took.
Snap like
Let
a toothpick,
alone
bro.
all those injuries he went through, the surgeries, the infections, everything that came after that. Just one injury after another kept compiling onto that dude. And his determination and will to come back and to still be wanting to play NFL, absolutely amazing. So that's something that, in my opinion, I'm personally looking forward to. I really hope that if Allen does struggle early, that they'll plug Alex Smith into that role. I would absolutely love to see that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Also, Lamar Jackson is questionable. They don't need to win this game.
Right. He
But
did return
it's a
to practice
division game,
yesterday, though.
so he might play because it is a divisional game. But Robert Griffin III is the backup, and he can ball out if he needs to. So if you do need another quarterback, Kyle Allen, Joe Flacco, Robert Griffin III. It looks like Lamar Jackson will play. I would play him because it's a division game, but RG3 is available. Well, most leagues.
Shady, anyone on your watch list that you're looking at?
See, I let you guys talk about the fantasy football because I have yet to get my feet wet into
You've
it.
never done fantasy?
So I'll just sit back and nod and go, yeah, he's a
Say
good pick
indubitably,
too.
intriguing. Indubitably.
Yes, that's very intriguing. 5
Indubitably.
points, 10 points.
What's this
like,
point? 3 points
I've-
mean? How do you
3
manage that?
points, right? Like I've only attempted fantasy football once in my life, and it was demoralizing because, of course, I didn't know how the game worked. So I picked all my favorites, or majority of my favorites,
Right.
and then I was like, "How am I losing?"
That's
So,
too
yeah.
funny. Oh man, that's great.
It was a hard lesson to learn, but it was kind of one of those like welcome to the NFL or welcome to the NBA type thing. It's
Right.
like welcome to fantasy league.
That's
You are at the
hilarious.
bottom, sir.
Oh man, that's too good. All right. Well, if that's the case, guys, that'll pretty much close up everything for football. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to hit us up in Discord or chat regarding anything. We're always here to answer your questions regarding anything as well. Moving into our power rankings, guys. Hiatus, we'll start off with you, man. What is your current top 3 for your power rankings for the NFL right now this week?
Whew. Great questions. So, power rankings for me right now. How many games are we in?
We are currently
Week
in
five.
week 5 now.
Week
One game
5.
into week 5
All
being
right, so
Thursday's game.
it's time. Even though they lost, it is time to start taking notice. So I have to put the Bucks in there because this is normally the time that we start to see Brady do Brady things.
They're 2-2 now.
So normally going into like week 6, he starts to kind of pick up the pace. So I definitely would rank the Bucks 3. I do have to go with Kansas City, and before Lamb says anything,
Yep, I almost jumped in there. Almost jumped
before
in
he
there, bro.
says anything, it's just I gotta give props to where props are due. They continued their momentum from last year, so I gotta respect it. So I do have them at the top, and then the wild card that I have for me right now is the Saints. Nobody's really talking about them. They've kind of like, yeah.
And without Michael
But
Thomas,
Drew
too.
Brees is
Michael
so
Thomas hasn't played in
consistent
3 weeks.
every season.
Yeah, and that's without Michael Thomas. He's been out for 3 weeks now. So for them to stay consistent the way they've been going and still winning games is a huge factor.
Exactly. And that, listen, as a Panthers fan since '96, I have been constantly tortured by Drew Brees every single year. And I'm like, why won't he just retire? Just go away. Didn't matter whether it was the Panthers' run to the Super Bowl or what. He was always a thorn in the side. You just cannot count Drew Brees out.
You can never count out Drew Brees.
He's just that guy. Like, what Drew Brees, like what happened in week 1 against him and Brady, I expected that because Drew Brees is just Drew Brees.
Exactly.
So as we get into these latter, because now everybody's kind of felt everything out, so we're getting into the more important games, the depth part of the season. So it's going to be interesting to see how things kind of shake up. But I would go KC first, Saints second, and Bucks as my third wild card.
Okay. Solid picks. What about you, Lamb? What's your top 3 looking like for your power rankings this week?
Man, I'm gonna give it to y'all right here and right now.
He was waiting. I heard him shuffling papers, refreshing.
I'm even gonna give y'all
internet.
an honorable mention. I'm even gonna give y'all an honorable mention. A team that I got my eye on.
Oh
right?
my gosh.
Let me give
Okay.
y'all a team that I got my eye on. They don't even have a winning record, but when I look at their schedule and everything, I'm like, oh yeah, this team is going to climb all the way up. Honorable mention: the Dallas Football Cowboys.
So
there's no way you can continue to have the number 1 offense and continue to lose games. It's just not possible. It's not possible.
Unless you're the Cowboys.
They pull it together.
Unless you got that defense that's going
They pull it together and they win that division hands down. Because the Philadelphia Eagles, they have problems at QB. We do not have problems at QB or running back or wide receiver. Washington has problems at QB. New York has problems everywhere. There's no way the Dallas Cowboys lose that division.
Big facts on that one. Corey, get down.
But
You need to chill.
for my number 3 team, I'm going to have to go with the Tennessee Titans. All right? They just look good. They look good. The running game, Derrick Henry opens up everything. And don't sleep on that D-line either. But Derrick Henry is so good. He should not be that good at running the football.
I stated that last week during our podcast.
Agreed.
That if I were to see anybody to ever break the rushing record or come close to it, would be Derrick Henry. He reminds me of Jamal Lewis. Jamal Lewis is the last person we've seen to ever come close to that mark. He's built like Jamal Lewis. He's agile like Jamal Lewis. And a dude that big shouldn't be that fast.
Correct.
Shouldn't be, but he is.
100%. With number 2, Kansas City Chiefs. Okay.
They dropped down?
Yeah, they did. They dropped down. They dropped down.
A little shock out of
man.
Because
I'm shocked.
You know why they dropped? It's because their defense is so horrendous, man.
They were without their star corner last week, though, alongside safety Tyrann Mathieu. They were without one of their star players.
Their defense is horrible, even with them. They're one of the worst defenses for rushing.
Even with the additions that they've made, too.
They're literally
outscoring
outscoring their opponents in like the third quarter to win games. That's it. Their defense is horrible. They're good at tackling, right? There's not a lot of broken tackles, but they're letting everybody catch the football and they're letting everybody convert. Everybody. It's ridiculous.
Gotcha.
Now, for first place, I have a tie. Okay.
Ooh.
And the tie
that means we can't technically have a third place.
I cannot decide which team is better than the other. And it's going to be the Green Bay Packers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I cannot decide what team is better.
Ooh,
teams
Pittsburgh out of
look
nowhere.
amazing on defense and offense. They look amazing on both sides of the ball. The double Snell and James Conner look amazing on Pittsburgh. Rogers for what's his first name? The running back.
James Conner.
Aaron Jones.
Oh,
Aaron Jones. I forgot. They're double Aaron. Aaron and Aaron. Man, is there a better quarterback running back duo in the league right now besides Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones? Because it ain't. It's not.
Honestly,
Kirk
the
Cousins and
closest
Dalvin
one
Cook.
to it that would only be in consideration would be Breeze and Kamara. Kamara just went off last game. He had 13 receptions for 135 yards.
Yeah, that's receptions though. With I don't know. Look at Kamara last year. Trash. He was garbage.
Yeah.
It was absolute garbage last year. But Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones consistency every year. James Conner's consistent every year. Even he can come back. He can miss 3 weeks of injury and still come back and be a top 5 running back in the league when it comes to yardage and downs and touchdowns. The guy's that good.
Yeah,
Ben Roethlisberger, James Conner, Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones. I cannot decide which one of those teams is the better team. And you notice I did not mention the Seattle Seahawks because they have no defense at all. So those are my picks.
Okay. Fairly interesting. Fairly interesting.
I still can't believe that he dropped Casey, but it's fine.
The Kansas City drop surprised me a little bit.
I
But
know.
throwing Pittsburgh in there as the number one really shocked me.
The defense, bro.
Kevin
Pittsburgh
says I'm
looks
taking off
amazing.
football lately with this COVID thing, to be honest. It's throwing a lot of players off. Yeah, that's big facts.
J.J. Watt, Devin Bush, Juju Smith-Schuster, Ben Roethlisberger, Snell, James Conner. Come on, bro. What
I'm not
team looks
completely
better than
surprised y'all with mine. Completely surprised y'all with mine.
He gonna say the Patriots, yo.
Oh, hell no. My
You
Patriots aren't
say
even in
the
the top.
Cleveland Browns.
They're not, no.
Outta
The
here.
Browns aren't either.
I'm
But
out of here.
My top 3 gonna completely surprise you guys. Completely. Number 3, I am gonna go with Seattle. Russell Wilson
my
is on a
gosh.
tear this year. Dude alone. Cora, stop. You can
Setting
wait.
himself up for disappointment.
Dude by himself this year is phenomenal. He's having an MVP caliber season. His offense is doing fantastic. Yes, their defense does have a little bit of slack, and that's why I'm rating him at the 3 slot and not any higher. But their offense is moving, and that's all due to Pollard and Russell Wilson. Dude can make plays. He extends plays. He throws an accurate ball. He makes sure that the receiver is the only person that can catch the ball if he's throwing the deep ball. He doesn't make mistakes. He's having one of the best seasons that I've seen Russell Wilson play right now. And for him to be the leader and the role player for that team, it's going to lead big things for them. And them having a defensive mentality team for so long, I expect that defense to step up here, and their defense has always gotten stronger towards the end of the season as well. So I project them to slowly move up, and that's why I've got them at the number 3 slot, because they're only going to get better as the year goes on. My number 2 spot, I'm going to give to the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, that's interesting.
The Buffalo Bills, guys, are playing unstoppable. Kyle Allen, or not Kyle Allen, Josh Allen
He's amazing. He really
is amazing. They're actually putting him in MVP consideration right now because of everything that he's done and how much he's doing for that team. He almost, in a way, kind of reminds me of a Russell Wilson. Not as good, but his capability of extending the plays, getting the ball to the open receiver, he still is learning the facts on trying not to make mistakes. We have seen that in the last couple of games, but that team's rolling. The way that he can run the ball, and then they got Singletary as a complimentary to Allen running the ball, and then they've got a fantastic wide receiver core. They've got Diggs. They've got Cole Beasley. Cole Beasley, for being a slot
Trash.
receiver.
This man
Are
trash.
you kidding me?
He came
used
from
to play
Dallas.
for your Cowboys.
Cole Beasley came from Dallas.
Oh my god.
He came from Dallas. He dropped a rap album.
Allen
He
can
has a
keep
rap
up,
album.
JJ.
Look it up.
Allen's legit,
Trash.
and that's why I'm giving Buffalo the number 2 slot.
They are
Their
good,
defense is right now, I want to say, the number 3 defense in the league right now. Their defense has been a number 5 defense in the league the last few years, and has been their strength and focal point of that team. But with Josh Allen taking that leadership role, stepping up the way that he has, and has been leading that team, I am giving that team the number 2 spot this week. And then my number 1 slot,
Hold on, real quick, before you say the number 1, you realize Buffalo might not win another game this entire season, right?
It's very possible. Very possible.
They have
They do have a hard schedule, but they've played 2 hard games already.
Yeah,
They played the Rams back to back.
So
they played the Rams and the Raiders back to back.
Yeah, Josh Allen is falling out. They made the right.
But what do you mean they won't win a game the rest of the year? They play the Jets in 3 weeks.
The quarterback. All right, go for it.
That's an automatic win, and then they play the Dolphins at the end of the year.
Dolphins are about to put in 2. It's week 5. Week 5. That's why you're seeing all these QB changes. Week 5 is the time to do it.
Yeah,
if Fitzmagic goes out there and throws 2 or 3 picks in the first half, that's it. Tua's coming in. I know it.
And then my number 1 team this week, Kansas City hasn't dropped. I have to agree with Hiatus. They haven't slowed down. They're still in the same momentum as last year. Defensively, they have been struggling a little bit, but we saw what that defense did at the end of last year during the playoffs. They were lights out. They were turning the ball over, forcing fumbles, not keeping themselves on the field. I was a stretch to it, JJ. I really was, but just the way that they've been keeping the momentum so far,
I agree, Living.
I'll stick with them so far for this week. But things can change fairly quickly. The Chiefs actually have a tough game this week. A lot of people are overlooking that game as well. They do play the Las Vegas Raiders this week, guys. The Raiders have given the Chiefs a difficult time here in the last couple of years. Going into Kansas City and actually winning games the last couple of years as well. Don't give up on the Raiders. Then they're rivals as well. Big facts, JJ. The one big thing the Chiefs are going to struggle with, 1, stopping Josh Jacobs. 2, stopping Darren Waller. Darren Waller reminds me so much of Rob Gronkowski. Is ridiculous. Dude is so big, and his catch ability is amazing. He's obviously the number 1 go-to target for Derek Carr. And nobody's been able to do anything about that dude. And it's just been going on for a season and a half now.
Nice.
If you look back at his career, Darren Waller had substance abuse issues. And no, dead ass. He had substance abuse issues. And
Just want to throw that out.
someone came up to him because this was brought up during the last game too, and this has been a big part of his success. Is he got basically a reality check. He got into his last substance abuse problem, and someone came up to him and was like, hey, you have a legit ability of being a great tight end, if not one of the better tight ends to ever play the game. You have the ability, you have the size, you can do what you can do. And when he finally got that role last year and showed out the way he did, they brought that up in the game last week when he went off, and it's been a huge factor for him on what he's done the last season and a half. That's played a huge factor for him in his early career on what has gone on for him. So I give huge props out to that dude. Substance abuse issues are not easy to come by, guys. By any means.
That's one of the hardest things in the world to overcome.
By any means.
Addiction.
And especially as a pro or a sports player or a celebrity or this, that, and the other, like, that's one of the go-to things for those people is substance abuse and drugs and this, that, and the other.
Pain management.
Exactly.
Management.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And for someone of that ability that's been suspended that many times. Look at Josh Gordon. Josh Gordon still can't get right because he doesn't want to lay off smoking marijuana. And he still hasn't heard back from the NFL and being reinstated this year because they're tired of reinstating his ass. It's over. Like, you only get so many chances. And
this is true.
Darren Waller turning around and taking that final chance, people need to look at that and take that as an aspect. And if you guys are having issues, don't be afraid to reach out to people. Speaking of people currently in chat, Dangalang has currently been working on a stream for helping. I spelled that completely wrong. I forgot the shout out. But he's one of the people that has been talking about creating a channel on helping people out, guys, and doing this, that, and the other. So if anybody is lurking around, having any issues, having any difficult problems or anything like that, shout out to Dangalang over here. He's willing to help out anybody and everybody regarding that stuff. That's one of the things that he's been wanting to do for a while now, and he's been finally doing it. He does more of the later streams at nighttime, guys. So if you do end up getting a chance, please go out there, shoot him a follow, shoot him a message, say hi. But that's definitely one of the guys. We haven't had a lot of streamers in the community that have wanted to do that, guys, and I've been trying to reach out to people to do that either. So for him to do that and to take time out of his own day and to be able to do that as well, big shout out for him, because not a lot of people are doing that, especially in this time of era right now that we're in as well.
This is true.
You're a legend, Dang. I'm going to say something about the Raiders, by the way. Was that your honorable mention?
What do you mean?
Okay, because here's my opinion on the Raiders. They're trash.
I think. All right, guys. In the next podcast, we're gonna have a counter at the top of the screen, and it's gonna count how many times Lance says someone's trash in the stream.
It's trash. Thank you. I was waiting for that.
Am I lying though? Am I lying though?
Not 100%.
Let me go through it. Let me go through it.
The Raiders have a lot of
right?
talent, man.
They're 2-2, right?
They are. But they also have a very tough division.
So they beat the Carolina Panthers 34-30, barely won that game, right? Christian McCaffrey injured, right?
Yeah.
Then they beat the New Orleans Saints, no Michael Thomas, right?
Yeah.
2 teams without their best player. Then they lose to the Patriots. Blown out, 16 points, 3 scores.
Well, that's the Patriots.
True.
They ain't got Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski. What do you mean that's the Patriots? They're not the same team. And then they lose to the Bills, 30-23.
That Bills are a different story.
They beat 2 teams without their best player. The only 2 wins they have, the teams were missing their best player. Maybe not the entire game, but the best players was definitely sidelined. Christian McCaffrey definitely went to the sideline. Michael Thomas went to the sideline in week 1. So he wasn't in the entire game week 2. So what that lets us know, the Raiders have not beaten a healthy team with a winning record.
Well, they almost beat a healthy team in the Buffalo Bills.
Yep. They have not beat a healthy team with a winning record yet. That's why I say trash. But once again, I've seen the Detroit Lions start off 5-0 and then lose every game this season. Like, so you know what I mean? You never know. You never freaking know. I've seen the Green Bay Packers lose the 2 first games of the season and then almost go undefeated. Like, you never know what's going to happen. Yep. But for right now, the Raiders need to show me that with as healthy as their team is, they should be able to beat other healthy teams. Right now, they're only beating the injured teams with their best players out. They need to show me more. But I do think Josh Jacobs is going to have one of the best years a running back has ever had in the league, honestly. The guy can do everything. He can pass block. He can run block. He can catch. The guy can do anything. Josh Jacobs is amazing. He's underrated. He's very underrated. His talent gets overshadowed because of the $10 million a year they gave to their head coach and then their horrible record right now. So it gets overshadowed, but he's really good. He really is. He was amazing last year. He was a top 5 running back in the league, but nobody talks about it because their team doesn't get pressed. But he was a top 5 running back. in the league. Look at his stats.
All right, chat. We got 2 more topics left. 2 more topics. We got the MLB playoffs. Been very kind of surprising this year. I was fairly disappointed in the Dodgers and Padres series. I was expecting more of a series out of that series, especially since the Padres reached out and traded for Clevenger, and we're hoping to make a huge playoff push and to possibly get to the World Series. With them being shut out and being blanked, really surprised me and shocked me, especially how well that team was playing. And then big shout out to the Tampa Rays for taking out the New York Yankees, because I am not
Go
a
Rays,
Yankees fan
go Rays.
whatsoever.
Get them
Vindication.
Yankees out of
Thank
here.
you for taking out the Yankees.
Get them
But
Yankees
one
out
of
of
the
here.
hottest topics, guys, is the Houston Astros. Houston Astros are back in the ALCS.
Let's go!
Without cheating this year.
Let's go!
A lot of people are fairly disappointed and kind of pissed off about it. In my opinion, I mean, at least they're doing it right. But I honestly didn't want to see the Houston Astros in the ALCS. Honestly, in my opinion, with them basically getting away from cheating for a year and a half, basically, and not really a whole lot of anything coming down. You hear of teams like NCAA teams gone cheating, and their whole championship season gets banned, and it's no longer in the books anymore. Honestly, in my opinion, I think that's what should have happened this year. Their World Series championship should have been wiped. They shouldn't have been able to reach the playoffs this year. There should have been more penalty, in my opinion. Kind of a downfall in the MLB, in my opinion, as well. What are your guys' takes on that and the MLB playoffs so far this year?
I'm going to talk about the Astros real quick, and then I'm going to hand it to hiatus like a running back. You feel me? When the Astros cheating was exposed and they had to go on ESPN and answer questions to the media about what's going on, I was so upset because I felt that they weren't owning up. Because one of the things they were asked was about the championship. Do they feel like they should forfeit it? And you know what the owners said? They said, we feel like our team would have won anyway. We're that good even without the cheating that we were unaware of that has come to light.
Right.
And I almost ripped my radio out of my Saturn. That's right, I drive a Saturn. I almost ripped it out because I was so mad. I was like, own up. And now, what, baby?
Okay.
And now I'm like, they were right. Because they're right back here with no cheating. So maybe they were right. The team didn't need to cheat. But when you look at that finals, it was like when they weren't at home, they were getting blasted like 12-0.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like dusted, bro. Like me and Childs, chat. Okay? But when they were at home, they were winning like 3-2. You know what I mean? 4-5. But when they couldn't cheat because they were at away games, I mean, they were getting blasted by double digits.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, did you really? But now they're all the way back here with no cheating, and I'm like, maybe this team really was good all along. So I don't know. I'm just saying, if they win this year, if they win the pennant, then I will say, yeah, say whatever you want about cheating. They were good enough to do it again.
And
Again,
without a big
without
piece
it.
of their pitching rotation as well. Justin Verlander went out earlier this year and has to get Tommy John surgery. So
Yeah.
they're without one of their starting pitchers, and they also lost Garrett Cole, right, to the Yankees in the offseason as a starting pitcher. So they don't have two of their starting pieces in that rotation this year, going very deep into the MLB playoffs as well.
I was impressed that they made
All
it
I'm
back.
gonna say is we're not gonna skip past the fact of Lamb, as big as he is, in a Saturn. I'm still trying to piece that together
Bro,
and see how that works
we
exactly.
removed the back seat, bro. We removed back
Oh,
seat.
okay. Because I'm like, what? He's just gonna skip past that, like,
Oh man.
just a
We removed back seats
FYI.
here in
I'm in a
Texas.
Saturn.
No, bro,
Okay.
I will. Let me tell you something. For the rest, I was an assistant manager of a credit union here in San Antonio for almost 3 years, and then I moved over to the fraud department of another major financial institution. And the biggest scam in the world is having a car payment. Besides insurance, right? Insurance is the biggest
Right.
scam in the world.
Yeah.
But having a car payment is the stupidest thing ever. Every American, listen to me, America, save up a few $1,000s and buy a cash car. Okay?
Yep.
Stop trading in cars every year. No one needs a new car every year or every 2 years. That's the dumbest thing ever. Buy a cash car and save that extra $300 or more per month.
Agreed.
Facts.
That's why I drive a Saturn.
The mere fact that the car, as soon as you drive it off the lot, depreciates all, that lets you know it's a bad investment.
Yep. Horrible investment. Horrible.
It's crazy. All right, guys. We got technically two more things we got to talk about. One of them being something that's been being talked about for a few months now. Of course, stop. It's the Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. speculation / fight that is supposedly supposed to happen. This has been talking about since the beginning of summer, just about. Mike Tyson posted a video of him getting back into shape, beating the hell out of punching bags and people wearing bodysuits.
Yeah.
And
he's knocking his sparring partners out. Like, calm down, Mike.
I have never
Damn.
seen Mike Tyson this built before. Even when he first came into boxing as a 20-year-old, Mike Tyson was built as a 20-year-old and he was quick. But how much bigger that this dude is now, let alone he's 53 years old and still as quick as he was when he was 20 years old, is dangerous.
Agreed.
Roy Jones Jr. and there's been a lot of talk going back and forth.
The first one.
And
Like,
Roy Jones came out and said something about,
we are, like,
well, I
on
want to fight
equal
this,
out
that,
of
and the
3
other.
or something.
And then all of a sudden
we
he
were
comes
trying
out
to-
and is like, well, I don't want to
yeah,
fight
we were
no
trying to-
more. And it immediately stood out and was like, I'm scared. Like, dude's legit scared. When Mike Tyson first posted his video, Evander Holyfield posted a video about a week later stating that he's getting back into shape and that he wants to get back into boxing. Now, that originated as it was going to be a Mike Tyson Evander Holyfield round 3, which everyone was amazed about. Everyone wanted to see that. And out of nowhere, Roy Jones Jr. comes out and was like, hey, I want this fight. And was like, all right, cool. We're going to get a Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. Mike Tyson's going to beat the shit out of him. And then I think reality started setting into Roy Jones's mind. And now it's like, you're not hearing nothing about it no more. It's been months. And is the fight going to happen? Is it not going to happen? If Roy Jones Jr. wouldn't have stepped into the case, we could have already had an Evander Holyfield Mike Tyson round 3. Very disappointing because I couldn't explain the amount of excitement when I saw that Mike Tyson was coming back and that he's training again. Hiatus, what do you think about this, man? We were talking about this a little bit before we started podcast. What do you think about Roy Jones Jr. basically coming out and stating out, saying he basically scared without saying it and hasn't said much since and doesn't look like he wants to fight anymore?
I will say what I mentioned earlier. I feel like he had flashbacks of Tarver putting lumps on his head and was like, I'm out of this. Like, I don't want any parts.
I think when he saw the second video of Mike Tyson throwing down, he's like, all right, no more, I'm done.
No, like,
I'm out, no more.
Because see, the thing is that
he's SpongeBob getting out of the chair, chat. I'm out.
When this was first brought up about the fight, it was supposed to be kind of like a exhibition.
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to be a full round. It was only supposed to be like 4 rounds or whatever it was. It was literally supposed to be just an exhibition.
Right. And so that's what he was thinking. It's an exhibition. I'll get in. We'll go light. Give some razzle dazzle to the people. Remind them of some stuff, and then we'll end the fight. Well, then he heard on press conferences where Mike Tyson's like, "No, this is a legitimate league.
Yeah.
Like this is for the older fight. Like we get in there and we fight. Like I'm not holding back. Like yes, it's an exhibition, but no, I'm not gonna take it easy." And then he was like, wait, I'm sorry. You want to fight for real? He was getting out of there. So, like, at this point, there's no reason to kind of push it along. It's more so Mike being able to find the next fighter that is actually willing to get into the ring with him, because Roy isn't going to do it.
No. And Roy should have known that to begin with, and even accepting that challenge with Mike Tyson, that it wasn't going to be anything light. It was going to be legit. Mike Tyson was going to come out with something to prove, and there was no reasoning for him to not train and come back to do this. Like, he wanted to do this.
Listen, it's one thing to say you want to fight Mike Tyson. It's another thing when the reality of fighting Mike Tyson sets in.
And that's what Kevin was just saying, too. He's like, that's not Mike at all. He goes full out anytime he's in the ring. I was like,
yeah, that's what Mike said in an interview.
When he trains, he goes full out.
Roy was like, I thought this was going to be more like showing off our boxing skills. Mike Tyson was like, we're going to have fun. It's a fun exhibition. What I find fun is, breaking jaws, fracturing ribs. I was like, oh my gosh. And then Roy Jones Jr. made the biggest mistake you could ever do, right? He went to YouTube and searched Mike Tyson's knockouts. Why would he do that? Why would he ever search that? Why would he ever search that on YouTube, bro?
Never in your life.
Why would he search that? And he was like, oh, no. His friends and family all hit him up in a group message. They had an intervention. They're like, Roy, are you having money problems?
Like, Kevin said, Mike tries to kill anyone that gets in the ring with him. Legit. He even says it. He does. He literally does. Mike has no cares about anybody who gets into the ring with him. You could be his best friend outside of the ring. As soon as you step into that ring, you're an animal to that dude. He's gonna tear you apart, and he's gonna look to kill you.
I know an MMA fighter who hasn't made it to the UFC yet. He does a lot of local and state stuff here in Texas. I believe he's 7-3 right now, and he says that even your training staff trains you on how to be aggressive in the ring, because they said to be a mixed martial artist or any type of fighter and get in the ring with someone you don't know and just want to murder them, he said it plays with your mind.
Yes.
So part of their training is to train people to want to murder this guy as soon as the bell rings for no reason whatsoever. As soon as the bell stops ringing, you'll be best friends. You'll go to the bar together, he said. You know what I mean? You'll meet girls together. But he said in that ring, you want to murder him in cold blood and have everyone cheer you for doing it. And when I thought about that, I was just like, I could never be a fighter. Not like professionally like that. You know what I mean? Like if someone cuts me off and I have my kids in the car, that's a different story, right?
Right.
But just like for no reason, just another nice guy who wants to make fighting his career and just to have that animosity, it's different when you're in fight or flight mode, right?
Yeah.
If you're walking to the corner store or whatever and you see a big snake, you're going to be like, oh crap, do I try to kill this snake or do I run? Everything goes away. You no longer have to use the bathroom. Your headache disappears.
Literally.
You know what I mean? Like
the thought process is on that one thing. You could be having shit coming out your ass and have diarrhea and see that snake and be like, oh my lord, I need to get away from this thing.
Yup. It'll instantly change. And that's how those professional fighters, they're in fight or flight mode the entire time. And I'm like, ooh, how stressful. And Mike Tyson, he's lived his life that way. If you watch him in interviews, he wants to knock out the interviewer for no reason.
Yup.
For no reason.
Kevin just brought
up
a big
fight
thing
everyone.
Too. He said that Kevin said he trained in one of his gyms as a kid, and he said it's no lie this about his core, and that he didn't even stop when it came to the bell. The bell would ring, and it'd be 3 seconds after the bell rang, and Mike Tyson's still trying to punch this dude and go after him.
Yeah, for real. After Mike Tyson was rehabilitated, he started apologizing for it, but he blocks everything out. He didn't give a crap about the crowd. He never threw up his arms to dance around.
He had that certain mindset to just go.
Mike Tyson should have been born back in ancient times where he could kill 50 men and they would throw him all the riches and the best women on the planet.
That would be the dude that would take down a mammoth by himself and need no help.
He was Genghis Khan, bro. He was Attila the Hun. That's who he is in the ring, bro. Like, imagine being such a fighter that the bell rings and you're still trying to kill him and you have to apologize. He sincerely, you can look at the video on YouTube, he sincerely apologized to the fighter and to the ref. He was like, I didn't know, because his mind is so focused on murder this guy in the ring. It's crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it makes for good TV.
It really does.
Yeah, no, it does.
It really does.
Mike Tyson scares me just by watching him on TV sometimes. I'm like, ooh, this is uncomfortable.
All right. Stop looking at me.
Yeah, I'm like, he's stable now, but he used to be super unstable, man.
Kevin just said, imagine if Mike did MMA.
Oh my gosh.
Could you imagine?
Don't want to.
Don't want to. Could you imagine him and Brock Lesnar going up against each other?
Oh, Brock Lesnar wouldn't stand a chance.
Brock Lesnar wouldn't stand a chance. I think Brock would be scared.
Yeah, dude, Brock's been knocked out by way less good fighters.
Yep.
I even think Kimbo Slice would have been scared to get in the ring with Mike Tyson, and Kimbo Slice was a nut.
Well, dude, Mike Tyson was a Kimbo Slice fan. Mike Tyson told Kimbo Slice, he said, I love your videos. He said, will you do me a favor? Kimbo Slice said, what? Don't ever go professional. That's what he said. He said, keep doing what you're doing. Don't ever go professional.
Right.
Mike was kind of warning him, like, it's so political, man. It's all about politics and all this stuff. He said, you're a pure fighter, so just fight. You know what I mean? Just fight. But Kimbo Slice, if he ever would have went professional boxing, he did good by doing MMA.
Right.
Because professional boxing, he would lose. He would lose because he can't dodge punches.
He wouldn't have the reaction time for it.
His specialty is eating punches and laughing at you. Like, not dodging punches. And boxing is, you're scoring points. You know what I mean? I know MMA is too, but MMA, you're really trying to knock someone out. Boxing is scoring points. Like, Kimbo Slice he specializes in eating punches like pizza rolls, bro. Like, I'm gonna eat a hot 16 real quick, you know what I mean? And then knock him out.
Kevin said, getting hit by Mike is compared to getting put, wait. Hold on, I gotta rewind. Getting hit by Mike is compared to being hit by a Bible to your face and letting Mike McGuire take a full hard home run swing at your face.
Oh, Mark McGuire. Ooh. On the PEDs or off the PEDs?
Yeah, right? Which one?
That boy Mark had a swing.
Oh, man. One last thing before we wrap everything else, chat. We were talking about this. We want to get a little bit more familiar with these, with ourselves here as well. One thing that Lamb pointed out, we wanted to get to know each other a little bit better. So we're going to be continuing to ask each other questions on our podcast at the end of our podcast as well, guys. I got a question for the both of you. Lamb, you being a big Cowboys fan, this, that, and the other.
Let's go.
And then Hiatus, with you being a huge Lakers fan and Carolina fan. The biggest question I have for you guys, and all your guys' memories and all of your sports, any of your teams, what would you take out of any of those? What would be your biggest and favorite memory off of any team in any sport?
Dallas Cowboys, Deion Sanders, returning kicks back there, dancing, waiting on the kickoff, and then catching that hole and running it all the way back for a touchdown. That's one of my favorite memories. Just back there waiting for the kickoff, just dancing, chilling, prime time, you know what I'm saying? Ball gets kicked into the end zone. He doesn't take a knee. He runs it all the way back to the house. All the way back to the house.
Okay.
I would have to say, for me, would be the Carolina Panthers' very first trip to the Super Bowl with Jake Delhomme, who was not the premier
quarterback,
Not at
but
all.
we made it. We made it, and for a half, we were actually on our way to a Super Bowl trip.
Yes, you
I'll never
were.
forget
I
it.
was scared during that game. I was.
I'll never forget it.
I was scared
And
during that game.
for me, that is imprinted in my brain, and I can't even mention the second time we went because it was so political and set up for Peyton Manning to walk off into the sunset that I don't even want to recall it.
That
But
that
first
doesn't even
one,
go into the stat books.
right. That first one with Jake Delhomme, I just knew we were finna get a chip.
Where's that Men in Black little wand? We can just erase that from the memory right now.
Yeah, okay, yeah. We'll treat that how we treat Michael Jordan's tenure with the Wizards.
Oh man.
We don't talk about that. Ooh.
Right, we don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that. Ooh.
Oh man.
What about you, Melby? What's yours?
Mine actually doesn't. I've got two actually. I've got two. What, Cora? You're not a part of it. No, you're not a part of it.
She talk about.
She's all, but
Air
why,
Bud.
Dad? But why?
She talk about Air Bud again.
Right.
No one likes that movie, Cora. Nobody.
One of my biggest and favorite memories, obviously, has to be breaking the curse for the Red Sox.
Oh yeah.
The curse of the Red Sox winning the 04
That was a
World
big deal.
Series is by far got to be one of my best, most memorable sports, anything that happened since I've been alive. To not win a World Series for, what was it, 98 years?
Yeah.
I think it was 98 years, if I remember right.
It
Because it
was
was 1908 was when we won our... Was it 1908 we won our last World Series?
Jeez.
I have it up here.
It had been a while. You may want to fact check that.
03, 1918.
Oh.
Yeah.
1918.
I've got a banner right here next to me. 1918 until 2004. So,
oh my god.
86 years, chat. I waited for a World Series. Obviously, I wasn't alive that entire time. But 86 years, I watched history. The Red Sox, I didn't watch it, obviously, but obviously I was growing up on it with Bill Buckner throwing at first base, not getting that simple ground ball to win the World Series against the Reds. The 04 World Series is by far going to be one of my to-date best sports things to ever happen. My second one has got to be when Tiger Woods won the Masters a couple of years ago. I'm a huge Tiger Woods fanatic. I remember watching Tiger Woods' first major championship, and also him watching and winning his first golden jacket. That was back to my dad's days. My dad got me watching him, and I grew up watching Tiger Woods. That's the reason why I go and play golf when I get a chance to. Tiger's always been an amazing dude, let alone what he's done off the golf course and the publicity and this, that, and the other. But for him to go through all of his injuries and to not do anything for years and to come back and to win on the biggest stage of the PGA Tour was amazing. I actually broke down that day. I was so happy for that dude, for him to come back and to win another Masters. It was amazing to watch. I actually have it recorded, and I have the putt that he made on my Facebook. That's how excited I was for that dude.
Nice.
So those are the two biggest sports things to date that I probably have to say that I've fantasized and have always been amazed about.
Let me tell you what my second one was. Bash at the beach. Hulk Hogan leg drops Macho Man Randy Savage and forms the NWO, baby. Let's go. New World Order.
Oh my
Scott
lord,
Hall,
I remember
Kevin
that.
Nash,
I
Hulk Hogan.
remember that.
Oh,
That's the greatest thing in wrestling I've ever seen.
I
I
remember
got one
that.
better for you,
Uh-oh.
Lamb. I got
Tell
one
me.
better for you. Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan. You remember that?
I don't
remember
think that match was that good though.
I remember
Bro. The it wasn't so much about the fight. It was about the fact that both of them had stand-up moves that excite the crowd.
Yeah,
and
no,
we
big
got
facts.
to see both of them do it.
It was, yeah.
And it was like,
That was
this is
super
like
loud.
legendary. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah,
They're
no,
not
that was
even
huge.
doing anything, but that's crazy.
Yeah,
So,
no, that was
man.
That's hilarious.
Ultimate Warrior was huge. I need some of
Yes,
those steroids,
man.
Rest
bro.
in peace,
Oh
Ultimate
my
Warrior, too,
gosh.
by the way.
Loved Ultimate Warrior.
Ultimate Warrior was amazing. My all-time favorite wrestler. Me and my dad grew up watching this dude. Stop! You're gonna make me mad. Go lay down.
Aww.
You've been barking all stream.
Hey, buddy.
My favorite wrestler. Me and my dad grew up watching him, and we used to record it every Wednesday on WCW. My man Goldberg.
Yep.
By far my favorite wrestler I've ever watched. I loved Goldberg. I
Chris
was
Jericho's
so
my favorite
mad
wrestler of all time.
when Kevin Nash's manager came in and disrupted that fight and ruined Goldberg's streak. I
Yeah, that
was
was
so pissed off. It was such a joke. I was so mad. Because if it wasn't for that, Goldberg may have never lost in his career. He was an unstoppable force.
It was.
Yeah, he was.
I just hated the fact that when we finally got the Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar fight,
Trash.
it just did not match to
Man,
the intensity.
It did not.
That's the
It did
only
not.
thing, man. Because like two unmovable forces, like you're expecting like some flash, and it just wasn't. It didn't give you Undertaker vibes. It didn't
No.
give you Kane vibes. It
Yeah,
was
it
just
Didn't
it was
Goldberg
just like,
end that
nah.
match on like 8 straight spears?
Yeah.
Like he was
Yeah,
just
it
spear
was-
after spear after spear.
It was something stupid.
to
Bad
jackhammer,
writing.
to jackhammer, to another
Yeah,
spear.
it
Bad
just
writing.
wasn't. Yeah, they didn't play that one out too well. But I definitely love me some Goldberg, man.
Oh man, I
Yeah.
missed it. When I saw him come back earlier this year, I was like, no, you've got to be kidding me. I was like, Goldberg's
Yeah.
back? No way. Like,
Yeah, he's still on
unreal.
contract for I think another 2 years with the WWE.
Yeah,
Nice.
him and Brian Wyatt, that fight was pretty good.
Agreed.
It's Bray Wyatt, but I love you
Oh,
anyway.
Bray
so.
Wyatt.
Let me
We're
just
gonna
throw
blame
that
it
in
on the
there and
goose.
make
We'll
sure.
just throw
Sure.
that in there and correct it
Blame
real
it on
quick.
the alcohol.
He been watching Scotty Too Hottie too much.
Throwback. Too hot, baby.
Oh man. You know what? For as funky as he dressed, one of my favorite dudes to come out during his little thing was Roddy Piper.
Dude,
Oh my god.
Roddy Piper didn't own a muscle, bro.
Roddy
That guy
At all.
Piper
hated the gym.
killed
At
me
all.
every single time he came out, man. Killed me every single
Oh
time.
my gosh. Craziness.
Oh man, we've had such a great sportscast today, guys. We've had an amazing podcast. We got Hiatus in here with us, who is freshly joined with us into the podcast, guys.
Yep.
And this is Lamb and I's second episode that we've been here. This is our second episode all together. This is Hiatus's first episode, guys. Big shout out to the both of them. Make sure you go stop by them. Show them a good shout out. Give them a follow. This is something that we're going to be doing for a while, guys. I don't foresee this stopping anytime soon whatsoever. Sports is a non-stop subject that you could always talk about for days and days. And I think we'll stay with the consistency of doing 2 shows a week. And the days I think work out really good for for all three of us now actually as well.
Yeah, no, they're perfect. They're perfect.
Tuesday
days.
works out really well. Unfortunately, with COVID, there's going to be an NFL game on Tuesday, but we'll be able to cover that while we're doing the podcast as well. And then everything follows in one right after another, guys. With doing the podcast on Tuesday, we can catch up with everything on what happened over the weekend. And then with doing another podcast on Saturday, we get to catch up with everything that happened through the week, all the injuries, give you guys updates, the other sports that are going on as well throughout the world. So it's nonstop. Yeah, I love it. And then having Hiatus in here with us as well. I love having the dude in here. He's such a great guy. And then Lamb's always been a great dude. Something
Titans, baby.
I would have never imagined doing with either one of these dudes. And now that we put everything together, it's almost like a dream come true, guys. I've always wanted to do something like this, and I can't wait to build on this even more. I'm hoping this is something that we can continue to grow and continue to make a better and more informational sportscast for you guys too. If you guys have any recommendations or other things that you want us to talk about as well, feel free to shout out to any of the three of us, and we'll be happily to reply to you guys and take up more things onto the podcast as well. But other than that, I think that's pretty much going to wrap up the show for us today, guys. JJ, thank you for stopping by, man. Shout out to Dangalang as well. Remember, guys, if you guys are having any issues regarding anything, make sure you shout out him. Go shoot him a follow. Don't be afraid to shoot him a message if you're having any issues as well, guys. He's always there to help you guys out. It's something, like I said, it's something that he's looking forward to doing as well, and something that he's been putting the time in and piecing together as well. Raider, thank you for stopping by. Nicholas, thank you for that host again earlier, man. Is there anything else you guys want to add on to anything else before we leave as well?
All I'm gonna say is, as far as streamers go, y'all definitely be sure to check out Hiatus, because this man streams. It's super entertaining. He's super funny, and I'm gonna need y'all to show my man living his whole streaming career is helping people who are trash. Okay, that's his whole streaming career. That's his whole streaming career. Do you know how frustrating that is? To be teaching 4 or 5 people a raid at a time and wiping 26 times in one boss phase, and it's a divinity run, bro.
And then on top of that, he's got to put up with this guy right above my head, chat.
Man.
My PTSD is acting up.
We need to show my man JJ some support. I want to see his streamer average get to about 50 something.
Oh my lord,
for
that's
real. Show my man some love.
Oh man. But yeah, but also just salute to Melby, man, for hosting this and holding it down. So definitely excited to be a part of the podcast and getting to hang with these great guys. Lamb be doing his thing. I don't know why he's telling these pleasantries. Lamb is the type that will wake up at 2:00 in the morning and jump on Scream and be like, "Hey guys, it's an X-rated Scream. Let's go!" Like, I'm sitting up, can't go to sleep at 2:00 and like, Lamb is on. What is he doing?
You're right. I'll wake up and get ready to go to work. And Lamb just streamed 30 minutes ago.
Exactly.
What the hell?
Bro, getting off at 4 a.m. like nothing even happened. Let's go.
Oh, man.
I mean, there's definitely a lot of great content and a lot of great streamers out there. And this is just one of the ways in which, we decided to come together and kind of give you guys some new content and go in a different direction. But we also are a part of that D2 community. Everybody's waiting, anticipating Beyond Light, and it's going to get toxic once we get there. Shout out to all the Titans, the Hunters that now have Blink.
Nope, trash.
like Warlocks that can now poison people. Like, it's going to be a lot of toxicity that's going on once it drops.
Poison, by the way? That's something a hunter would do.
Right?
Listen, at
Right?
at
Here, let me
at
just go
this
infields
point-
real quick and just stick you.
Yeah.
right. At
And then
this
watch
point,
you
I
die.
am tired of the Titans' abilities being taken and given to other classes.
Facts,
Like
bro.
like they
Facts.
took our dodge that we had with our exotic and they gave it to the warlock. Like
Yep.
they love just taking what we love and giving it to another class. They gave the hunters an uppercut.
Yep.
That's not
A hunter shouldn't be
logical.
uppercutting.
Yeah. A
Like,
hunter would never play close with close
exactly.
hand
Why
combat.
would he be uppercutting anything?
Yeah,
But
he
whatever.
never would.
Like but yeah, I'm definitely hyped for Beyond Light to see, what's coming. So, check out one of these streamers. We'll all probably be on during that time once it drops
I
with
took
our
2 days
eyes
off,
glued
actually, so
and
I plan on
tired.
doing a 24-hour stream
Yeah,
when
facts.
Beyond Light pops out.
Yeah. So, but that's what I wanted to say, man. I'm definitely looking forward to November. Definitely looking forward to continuing to grow with the podcast. Definitely enjoyed myself. Definitely glad that you guys invited me to join up with you. Had some
man.
great conversations today about
None of
sports,
this would be
which
continuing to happen or anything like
Yeah.
that if it wasn't with you guys. Like, I had such a good time doing this, and if we're not having fun talking about sports, we're over here laughing our ass off about stupid shit.
Facts,
this is
baby.
true. This is true. This is so true.
Let's go.
But
Titans up.
That's gonna wrap it up for us today, guys. We will catch everyone again on Tuesday. We'll follow up with the NFL weekend. Follow up some more with the MLB playoffs. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be plenty of more sports to talk about. Like I said, there's always sports to talk about. So we will see everyone on Tuesday, chat. Thank you for everyone for stopping by today. Nicholas, again, thank you for that host guy. You didn't have to do that. Much appreciated. If you guys, please go check out Nicholas. Nicholas is one of the nicest, most supportive dudes around this community. He's always in everyone's stream. He's unknown Twitch channel. Oh, I forgot his Twitch channel. Or not his Twitch channel. Why is it unknown? Oh, I didn't put the Y. I'm a dum-dum.
Feels bad.
But guys, make sure you go
Feels
check out
bad.
Nicholas. Nicholas is always supporting everybody and everybody. He's always around. He's always in everyone's stream. Dude's just a huge support system from everybody. So please stop by, show him a follow, say hi to him, show him some support. Can't thank the dude enough. Like I said, he's always around everybody's stream, and he's always lurking. Other than that, guys, we will see everyone Tuesday. I myself, I'm going to start up another stream here in about an hour or so. I'm going to go get some food, and then we're going to start streaming some Destiny, and I believe we're going to try to do some Trials plays tonight as well. So stay tuned in for that, guys, and we will see everyone on Tuesday. And Lamb and Hiatus, great stream with you guys, great podcast.
Yes,
and
sir.
We will talk
Appreciate
to you guys
it.
here
Yep.
soon.